Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know, this is Elaka here, and I'm back with a brand new video. Now, just before I go ahead, today I'm not going to be on camera because it's Sunday and I really don't feel like it. But for those who are waiting for the next part of the creating a website using WordPress series, I've still got one more video that I owe you, one more live stream, which is going to be the final part where I am going to be making a deep dive into just curating your shop and making sure that it's all speak and spam. And then also just honestly going over the basics that people require in order to just get their website started. Because so far I've gone into detail for detail for detail. And so the last tutorial live stream that I am going to be offering, which should be tomorrow, I'm hoping I can be able to live stream it tomorrow evening. We'll be just going through the shop mainly and just the basics that you are going to be requiring in order to create your own website using WordPress. Otherwise, as the thumbnail has probably shown you, today we are going through just the many ways that you can be able to create a thumbnail, because videos are a big thing. Videos are a great way to send a message through. Videos are a way in which we obviously communicate a lot these days. And of course, if you're a YouTuber, a Facebooker, a Twitch person, whatever platform that you utilize in order to put your content out, for most cases than not, you are required to make some sort of video. And so what better way to attract more subscribers or viewers, etc., that sort of thing, or even just attract your niche market, than putting the right type of thumbnail that you need, right? And so that's what this video is. But this video is not just because I wanted to show you guys how to do thumbnails, because I do have a series going specifically for my patrons where I am going into detail for each platform on how to create thumbnails. And so for this one is a run through across the board, all the different platforms that you can be able to utilize to create good thumbnails, basically as a thank you for my YouTube channel reaching 200 subscribers. And to be honest, I am only just reaching 200 subscribers because I've never really been that consistent with my YouTube channel, the Elaka one to be more precise, if truth be told. And so, but I am on a journey now where I do hope to continue being consistent and just continue being inspiring, if I am inspiring at all to any of you. And of course, showing people how to brand and market themselves as individuals, because I am a strong believer in people having their own foundation and not having to always rely on other platforms in order to sustain them. And that includes people having YouTube channels and not relying on YouTube and YouTube alone as a source of video portal or a means where you produce your videos and you put them out there to the rest of the world. I believe if you have your own platform, you can be able to basically put things further out more than basically any social media can allow you to. Hence the WordPress tutorial series. Anyways, without further ado, I am just going to quick a little bit housekeeping, obviously, for those who are new to my channel. If you have never been here before, I do urge you, please do give this video a thumbs up. And of course, give this video a subscribe, or should I say the channel a subscribe. If you're over on YouTube, subscribe and click on that bell button, of course, so that you can receive notifications every time I upload new content. And of course, if you are watching over on Facebook, please do give this video a thumbs up. And of course, do like the page, should I say, page that you're watching from, or follow the page, because I think Facebook goes back and forth between either liking the page or following the page, or a bit of both. But whichever way it is, please do follow or like the page, and of course do share the video across the board for those who are interested. So if you're on YouTube, please share the video, and of course leave your comments down in the chat, in the live chat if you're here live, or leave your comments down below if you're watching this after the fact, as it helps me immensely with the algorithm. And so now, obviously, like I said, I'm not coming on camera, which I think will make this tutorial so much easier for me, because then I don't have to worry about having my face on screen. I can just give you full screen when it comes to the sharing that I will be sharing. So let us, let me see. Before I actually continue to that, I just want to leave a comment in the chat. for those people who might have any questions or anything like that, this is quite an open tutorial. So you are free to either leave your questions in the chat, or if you want to ask your questions verbally, you are free to click on the link that I have just posted. I don't know how to pin the link over on whatchamacallit, on Facebook, but I can pin it over on YouTube. So the link is actually pinned at the very top on YouTube. So if you've got any questions on how to, as I'm going through the tutorial, feel free to utilize the link, or just simply post your question with a Q at the beginning and ask away what it is that you need to ask. Okay, so as I mentioned, many ways you can create good thumbnails. That is the topic of this particular live stream. And a lot of people I know who've got YouTube channels, whatever platforms, have always struggled to try and find the right type of thumbnails, this and the other. And I'm a strong believer in being able to create good thumbnails, because I feel like good thumbnails not only help in attracting the right type of audience that you need, but also it does help in maintaining your brand identity, all the way from the color scheme that you choose, to the type of images that you use, all the way to the art style, right, that you utilize. Now, for me, I have a variety of platforms. Therefore, I try to fashion my thumbnails accordingly. And so as you can see, let me just bring out this particular thumbnail that I have for this exact video. Let me see if I can bring it up. Just give me one moment, because I placed like 2 thumbnails on it in order to kind of obviously showcase like 2 different styles of thumbnails. And obviously within the thumbnail, you can see there's another thumbnail around it. So technically you're seeing 3 thumbnails in one thumbnail. So I'm going to bring that up on full screen. And as you can see, this thumbnail, the style of my thumbnail, this is my style, right? This is my personal style of thumbnail. And that's how I prefer to do my thumbnails, because I figured that this is actually what works for me. Okay. But you'll find that the thumbnail, I'm not sure if you can see the cursor, the thumbnail that's on for me, it's on my left, which is like the red one. It's got Kira Sheard and her brother at the BMI. That one I use for TGZ TV, which is my magazine platform. I had that thumbnail designed in that particular fashion. I cannot believe I hear the ice cream machine. Oh my gosh. I basically designed that thumbnail style to suit the branding. So that's the color scheme, because the TGZ magazine color scheme is like a wine red, and then with some gold and some white and maybe some accents of black sometimes. And so when it came to the thumbnail, that's how I went about branding it. Because if you look at the TGZ magazine brand across the board, all the way to Instagram, I still utilize the same color scheme. That way it's recognizable the same way. Even when you go to the website, it's got a very similar look and feel about it. So I decided to kind of maintain it that way. And you find that in comparison to my thumbnail, which has got the kind of like the oval shapes in the sides and then the lower third at the bottom, I actually like that. And because my Elaka is more personal, and so to a degree, so is my Sims. So my Sims platform and my Elaka one have got a very similar pattern when it comes to the design of the thumbnail, because I wanted it that way, as those are the more laid back platforms, whereas the TGZ magazine one is more professional. And so I kind of had to go with a thumbnail that would more suit the brand for that. So that goes all the way to the way the font is done, the way the font is fashioned. And then you find that the thumbnail that's on the right hand side, which is a Sim series that I was or am to continue playing on Facebook, called Kaylee's Struggle Life. I know that. With that one, basically I used like an aqua blue, and all across every single episode, I made sure the thumbnail stayed the same. The only thing I changed was the background image, and obviously the episode number and the title for that particular episode. But I maintained the exact same thumbnail in terms of the main template style of it. And I played around with the background. So as you can see, for instance, you can see Kaylee, which is the blue haired girl, which is not me, by the way. I'm just obsessed with the color blue. Therefore, whatever characters I create, I tend to automatically give them the color blue hair. which is, I think, a character flaw on my part, but that's neither here nor there. So basically with that one, as you can see, they are sitting on a table. They were actually at a restaurant, and they had gone on vacation somewhere. So I decided to add the vacation background in front of them. So technically that picture did not have the vacation, like all the trees in the background. And then there's the picture of her on the side, because I just kind of wanted to emphasize how happy she was. So there was quite a bit of editing that went into removing backgrounds and replacing backgrounds and that sort of thing. And we're going to look into that a little bit using Photoshop as well as Photopea. And then I'm going to show you how you can roughly do that in other platforms, whereas other platforms do not offer that option, but there are alternative ways that you can be able to kind of sort of, I suppose, mute out the background and then make use of other elements to add to your video thumbnail. And then most importantly, when you are creating video thumbnails, again, it depends on the type of brand that you have, right? For instance, if your brand is very simplistic, like about food and stuff like that, and you normally show your face in the videos, it is highly recommended that you put a picture of yourself as well as whatever dish you are preparing, on the side of the thumbnail. Whereas my Sims series, for instance, I don't show my face on any of my Sims platforms. Therefore, my thumbnails do not have to have my face. Even when I'm giving a review, I utilize a Sim, or it's my Sim self, as my means to be able to kind of like showcase some kind of a face, that way I kind of maintain the theme of not showing my face, two, it's always a Sim character that's on the front. Whereas with the TGZ TV, it depends on what the story is. I always go with that. And when it comes to TGZ, I always just utilize, in most cases, I prefer to utilize a full picture. I don't like to remove the background or anything like that, because whatever the topic is, I prefer to maintain the picture as is. It's just a matter of finding the right picture. And sometimes if you have an image that you want to utilize, but maybe it doesn't fully fit in the frame, there are ways within photo editing software that you can actually be able to expand on the picture so you can get it to fit in the frame without cropping out people's faces, etc., that sort of thing. And hopefully I'll get the chance to actually go through that a little bit. And so let me just remove this from the screen. And so that's just kind of like a little intro on, the different styles that you can pick. So depending on your brand, you get to choose what it is that you want to implement and what style you want to implement. But you do have to bear in mind on what you aim your platform to be. So for example, if you aim for your platform to really supersede in terms of brand collaborations and things like that, with time, you do have to practice, should I say, finessing your thumbnail editing, your thumbnail, how you touch up your thumbnails, how clean they look, how professional they look, because it does, it does reflect on how much you pay attention to detail. That's what I like to use. It does reflect on that, and it can give an impression on whether brands would want to work with you depending on the type of brand that they are. So you do have to put into consideration that actually I would like to work with this particular brand. And when you go and research that particular brand, you might find that, oh, this is how they style themselves. This is how their social media looks. Therefore, if I want to be able to work with brands like them, if this is how they display themselves on social media, across YouTube, etc., that sort of thing, I need to be able to display myself not necessarily like them, but my image has to be something that they should be willing, right, to work with. And so that's, in the long and the short, that's how it works. And just to give you an idea, when I talk about finessing and improving, etc., that sort of thing, I'm going to do my screen share where I am going to show you how far I have come when it comes to video thumbnail. So let me just share my screen, and let me share this one. I'm just going to share this entire screen on this side so you can have a look, because I might go through different folders, etc. And let's put that up. Okay, I'm going to do full screen so you can see that fully. So this is basically my file explorer. Okay, and you can see the different thumbnails that I have. But when I first started really pushing YouTube. In the beginning, there was not really such a thing as doing thumbnails per se, because the video would automatically just pick a section as your thumbnail. So you find that even my old videos, my very, very old videos on this channel, I don't have any thumbnails because it was not a thing. But when thumbnails became a thing and I thought, okay, I want to start, uploading content, the first step that I took was actually with The Sims. Because initially, I think when I released my first single, I wasn't really into the whole thumbnail thing because, like I said, it wasn't really a thing. I utilized literally my music's cover art as my thumbnail, which is like a 1,600 pixels by 1,600 pixels. Completely wrong format for a thumbnail, because thumbnails are not square like Instagram. But that's how you know like how far I have come, because I've kind of learned more and more as I have kind of grown, gone more into creating thumbnails and improving my content, etc. So let me just utilize this to expand this so you can have a look. So this was around my first thumbnails when I first started sharing my Sims content on YouTube, which I think is completely hilarious, because when I look at it now, I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Like, the logo is all over the place. I don't like the way it's kind of like slightly transparent and it's coming through. I can't even remember what I was thinking when I was trying to create that, because today you will not catch me dead like mixing it up in this manner. No way, Jose, and then the thumbnails I didn't do too bad, because I was the background I didn't do too badly, simply because I was already quite decent at background removal. So I was able to kind of remove her from the initial background she was on, and then I used another picture of her to kind of show her how homeless she was, because that was the whole point of this one, right? And so let me move past all the different episodes, because literally I prepared all the thumbnails in advance, as you can see. And there was no change. And then slowly, as you can see, I maintained the format of this dotted frame, which is so cringe. But this is when I started experimenting more, right, on the thumbnail. So this was the first ever tutorial I provided on my EPCreativeMedia YouTube channel, where I was showing people how to create custom content. And on this particular one, I wanted to showcase basically how I customized a Murphy bed in The Sims 4, and I wanted to show a before and after. And so this was my effort at doing a before and after, which is completely cheesy as well, because like you can hardly see the before picture. Absolutely cringe, right? But still, for me, I was kind of happy that, okay, I seem to have been getting somewhere. And I think that was the beginning of me falling in love with the sphere corners, because as you can see, I've got the first sphere here, but where I think I went slightly wrong was curving the words, because I honestly was still figuring it out. I was still figuring it out, And so there goes a thumbnail. And then as time went by, this became my main thumbnail, and I was very, very happy with this style. I like the fact that I was able to fit in the logo in my corner, and then this side, the left hand side, I could interchange the logo. So depending on what I'm reviewing, what I'm talking about, I get to change the logo on the left hand side, whereas on the right hand side, my rule of thumb is I maintain my logo, I maintain my branding. And so even with the Elaka one, you find that on the right hand side, there's always the Elaka logo here. But for this particular tutorial, because I'm not sticking to a particular style of branding, because I'm going across different platforms, I just put Elaka on both sides. But if it's specific to one style, like for example, the WordPress one, I've been placing the WordPress logo on there. For this one with the Sims 4, whenever it's something to do with Sims 4 related, I always put the logo there. Now, initially, if you notice, I started with putting the Sims 4 logo slanted like this, but currently it's actually changed because it's literally straight, because I just decided to align it. But one thing I did love about how I evolved my thumbnail making was being able to add strokes around the wording, because that basically makes the wording a little bit more prominent. It stands out more, and there are different ways that you can be able to add the stroke. It doesn't have to be as thick as this. Okay, for me, I find it actually works for me. It works for my branding style, but it doesn't have to be that way for you. For instance, the Sim Sessions, that's their own logo, right? I picked up a transparent logo from the internet. I can't remember if transparent or how to make it transparent, but the logo had to be transparent in order for me to relate to what I am talking about. So this particular one, there was a lady by the name of Joy Oladokun, and this is her. And when she was introduced into the game for a series that was actually on at the time, this is the version of the sim they created, which I absolutely hated. So I thought, no, guys, you are doing this woman dirty, because that is ridiculous. So I decided to recreate her in the Sims. I basically modified this one to this so that she can look more like the original artists themselves. And so I utilized this picture from the Sims to create a before and after situation. As you can see, it's a huge difference from the before and after that I did with the CC creation. Okay. Do I have anything else? Yeah, this one is Paralyzed. This is a whole different game. I was giving my thoughts and reaction. So basically a review video. And as you can see, I didn't really do anything with the background image. I just chose the image that I thought worked. It was a screenshot from the video, and then I put the Paralyzed logo. I went and found the logo for the actual game, and I got, like I said before, my my routine before was to basically, I don't know why, put the logos for whatever I'm talking about on a 45-degree angle, which is so bizarre, but it seemed to have been working for me at the time, and I was okay with it. And then I maintained EPCreativeMedia on the right-hand side as is. And what I tend to do is I don't stick, when it comes to the variety of videos like reviews, etc., that sort of thing, I do change up the color scheme of the thumbnails. Okay, I do change up the color scheme of the thumbnails, but what makes people able to know that it's still my branding is because of the structure in which I make the frame, and then I've got the curve on the side, and obviously how I do the wording. And when it comes to wording, there are specific fonts that I stick to. If I don't use Montserrat, I use Helvetica. I do not venture outside of those fonts at all. Those are the only two fonts that I use. And I do recommend, if you are creating your own thumbnails, find a font that works and find a font that's readable. That is so important, guys. I cannot stress enough. Find a font that is readable to your audience. You want, if somebody is, especially hasn't got great eyesight, they should be able to at least, read what it is that you have on screen. And that's why you have to be careful how it is you go about with creating your thumbnails, especially when you make it too busy. I have been a culprit of making some of my thumbnails too busy, and I try to minimize that, because I know sometimes you're like, oh no, I have to put everything on there so they know what it is. Actually, just think about what it is that is the most should I say, what would be technically your hashtags on your thumbnails. It has to be put to a minimum, right? And utilize that in order to just get their attention. And then everything else can be explained within the video. And of course, some of it can go in the description, where if they're not really sure, they can read in the video description and find out what you are trying to tell them. So this is another one. Let me see if okay, this is another one as well. This was for a live session, as you can see, that I did a live reaction when there was a trailer that was released for Nifty Knitting for The Sims 4. And again, I made this one really simple, and I was actually quite happy with this one as well. I was happy with it simply because, again, you could see I was falling in love with the whole spheric, thing. And with the sphere kind of showing up the way it is like that, I just chose, okay, let me just expand the Sims 4 logo as well as the Nifty Knitting logo and just write the word trailer. I didn't want it to be too busy. I wanted to keep it basically very simple but effective and straight to the point of what it is that I was basically trying to do. And so here we go. Let's see. So yeah, is there any others? Yeah, this one, again, this was for my Patreon autumn laundry list. As you can see, by then now, I kind of got used to the methodology that I was using. I was comfortable with it, and I just experiment with it. And to the point where, like I said, I created my own Sim self, which I utilize as my model for all of my Sims related things. And as you can see, with the improvements, I was able to basically create a variety of video thumbnails with the right stroke around them, and it kind of stays uniform that way. As you can see, I renovated the Blue Velvet nightclub base game, and I tend to, the background image that I'm going to be using, I tend to utilize that as my base to get color schemes from in order to recolor my frame for my thumbnails. This one was for housewives. Believe it or not, even this blue, even if I'm personally obsessed with blue, when I used the color picker tool in Photoshop, it came out like a darkish blue. So I just lightened it to kind of like, you know, create the housewives when I created them initially on the Elaka channel, which now is obviously on the, as you can see, on the YouTube, on the EPCreativeMedia YouTube channel, because I transferred the content over there. And as you can see, it's literally the same thumbnail, but slightly different. And so it's really that simple to kind of like play around with thumbnails. The other one that I did was this one. Let me zoom in. There we go. This one, very simple, but effective. And again, it depends on the type of branding that you choose, right? That you can be able to have your thumbnails. It does not have to be with a frame the way I created mine with the frame. I just happen to enjoy having frames with my thumbnails. Is there any more? Let me see. Yeah, this is amongst the first ones. You can see a huge difference. So let me close that because we don't need that anymore. So that's kind of like giving you a long and the short, you know, on how the variety of thumbnails that you can be able to make out of your base thumbnail, but also just to show you how far a long way I have come in creating my thumbnails. And so now, how do you create your own thumbnails? That's what we're here for, right? And so there are many ways. You can use Photoshop. Okay, I've got Photoshop already open, and I've kind of left the thumbnail that I created for this video. I'm still in there. So there's Photoshop. Then there is, let me open the right one. There is Canva, for those who prefer to use Canva, because I know that Canva is really good for those people who are not really good at photo editing software, video editing, that sort of thing. Canva actually can do quite a bit for you. But in order to get more out of Canva, you do have to pay for it. So there's only so much Canva can actually be able to do for you. So that's something that you have to put into consideration. The other one is Photopea. Photopea is basically, I think I've mentioned this before in a previous tutorial. It's basically one that kind of imitates Photoshop. So a lot of the elements that you can learn from Photoshop, you can be able to implement in Photopea. And so we are going to get started with some features. Okay, I'm not going to really, let me see. I'm not going to really create, should I create a full thumb? Okay, let me see what I can do. Let me see what I can do, because this is an impromptu one just to say thank you for the 200 subs. So let me close that. Okay, and I'm going to create a new file. And I'm going to go for custom, but obviously I need the measurements for the video thumbnail for YouTube. Now, because I have not had to measure my YouTube thumbnails in a really long time, I'm just going to click on one of my previous one and just see 1781 times 981. Is that the same one? Yep, 1781. Hang on. 1781 times 981. So 1781 by 1781 by, wait, what was it? I've forgotten already. This is terrible. Hang on. 1781 by 981. That was it. By 1781 by 981. Okay, so 1781 by 981. Those are the measurements that you need for your standard YouTube thumbnail. Okay, and this is most mainly for YouTube, by the way, but it seems to work for across the board. Like, for example, I'm streaming across YouTube and Facebook, but I utilize the exact same thumbnail for both platforms. Okay, so that's 1781 pixels by 981 pixels. And then the color scheme, 300 pixels, that's fine. RGB. The background can stay white. You can always remove it from being white afterwards if you want, or if you want it to be transparent, obviously you can use the drop down list. I have done some tutorials on my platform where you can actually see more steps on exactly what pixels to use, etc., you know, how to go through Photoshop. And I'm hoping in the future I can be able to give some step-by-step tutorials on how to get started with Photoshop, how to get started with Photopea, how to get started with even PowerPoint. Okay, I don't know if I've mentioned PowerPoint, but if you've got Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, you can actually create thumbnails with Microsoft PowerPoint as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on create. It's untitled, that's fine. Okay, so this is what we have. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to quickly show you our models for the day are going to be this one here. Okay, that's a sim. She's so gorgeous. I created her from scratch. Thank you very much. And then it's going to also be my sim self. Okay, I'm going to utilize them. And I'm going to be utilizing them basically as my basis for those people who want to put a face into their basically thumbnails. Okay, so the first thing I am going to do is what story are we trying to create? Let's see. Okay, so I've already got okay, there it is. There they are. Okay, so Elaka is over here. Let me see which one I want. Oh, she's looking down there. Okay, so I'm gonna drag and drop the image into Photoshop. Okay, and it's an almost perfect fit, which is perfect. But I'm just gonna click on the Alt key as well as Shift key at the same time, drag on the corner. Nope, wait, it didn't quite take. Let me try that again. Alt Shift at the same time. Oh, what's going on? It's not doing it. Come on, let me try just on the corners. Ah, how weird, how odd. Alt and Shift normally allows you to keep your aspect ratio. For some reason, it wasn't doing it. I'll find out. I'll get to the bottom of it. But that's neither here nor there because that's not part of this tutorial today. So I just dragged it a little bit on the corner so that it can fit the entire place. Now, here's the thing. So let's say, for example, you've got a picture like this, but you just want the image of the person. The good thing about Photoshop now is the moment you place an image, it pops up, it gives you this little pop-up that you can see at the bottom here. And using this little corner, you can actually drag it to the top, drag it wherever it is that you need it to be so that you can be able to utilize it. And then it gives you the option to select subject and remove background, okay? And literally that's how simple it is, guys, okay? It's really that simple now. So all you have to do is click on remove background. And when I do that, it's going to start generating because it does use the good thing about the advances of AI is it gives you room to be able to do things like this. Okay, so let me just, there you go. It's gone ahead and completely masked it and removed the background for me, which is absolutely amazing. So it saves me the time, right, to have to remove the background myself. And so whenever I recommend Photoshop, it's for features like this that I try to encourage people, like it's actually worth it because they keep putting advancements into it and how you can basically just have better photos, have better editing for your platforms. And it's amazing. It saves a lot of time. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the picture and I'm just going to move it to the side. And as you can see, though, even if the background is removed, there's these little arrows that are there from before, from basically the actual, the original picture. And those arrows were part of the cast, obviously. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to crop it so I can crop those sections out. That's one way. The other way, actually, although I don't know if I should show you the other way because it's a lot more complicated, but one way you can do it is just to click on the crop option and crop it. But as you can see, because it's removed the background, it's so weird, but it's kind of cropping the whole thing. Then you can do it like that. But the other way you can do it, let me go and undo that, undo crop. Okay, because it ends up cropping the whole thing and I'm trying to avoid that. Okay, we do not want to crop the whole image because we need to maintain the aspect ratio for YouTube. And so you have to go on the right hand side, you double click on the image. When you double click on the image, it allows you to go ahead and edit the image on its own. Okay, so here is where you can actually go ahead and crop out the bottom. Remember, it's already removed the background and all you want is to get rid of this. So you can crop it out like that and then check mark it to save it and then click Control S to save. Okay, click on OK if you get that type of pop-up. And then when you go back to the tab, it should have been cropped off. But guess what? Because it was masked, right? Remember, it was masked from the background. It's not understanding the crop. So in order to kind of mask it back, hang on, there we go. So I wanted to be able to remove the rest of the background because it doesn't recognize to remove that too. So let's see, where is it? Transparency, some more. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So these are the new features that Photoshop has actually added, by the way. Trying to find it, And then smooth contrast, shift edge. Where is my, there we go. Okay, because I need that to actually look white as opposed to full color. There we go. As you can see, I'm not sure if you can see clearly what's going on, but if you were to manually remove the background, this is literally what I'm doing right now is what you would have to be doing. Especially if you're not good at it, then you might find it rather tedious. So I have gone ahead and I have eliminated the extra bits that it added. Hang on, this one there still, there's another there. Come on, over here. There we go, I think. And then I am gonna go ahead and click OK at the bottom. Okay, and that should have removed that background. Now, as you can see, I can still see some of it there. Okay, so I can go ahead and double click on the mask again and make sure that those other bits are actually gone. You see, you can see a bit of the wardrobe there. So we're trying to get rid of that. So I'm going to do that again and make sure all that is whitened off because we do not want that to show up either. So let's make sure that's... Now, here's the thing, because it's so bright in the background, it's hard to tell. So if you're using an image that's basically got a slightly bigger, slightly darker background, you'll find that you're likely to see more clearly what you are erasing and what you are keeping, or what the picture is going to keep, what Photoshop's going to keep. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And there you go. It's all gone now. And so now when I place something else at the bottom of this, it should be able to work just fine. So I'm going to click on the background there because I want the picture that I place here to come at the bottom of this image. Okay, so we're going to go over to the screenshot. Sorry, for some reason I've got slight hiccups. I'm going to go over to the screenshot. Let me find a background. Let me see. What's that one? Okay, a house that I made. I wish I could find like a landscape. A landscape would be nice. Let's see. What's that one? That one's actually not too bad. Okay, let me use that one. And well, let's see this one. Yeah, actually, no, let me use that one. I'm going to use that one. I'm going to drag it in Photoshop. And then I'm going to literally pull it out. There you go. I'm literally just using the Alt key on its own as opposed to Alt and Shift, just to let it get it to fit the entire space. And then, as you can see, now that I've added the background to it, my face or my sim self is completely transparent, right? And so for those people who like to put like a face, I put a face in my thumbnail. Okay, this is the type of method you can be able to use to be able to basically remove the background from your image. That way you can place whatever other backgrounds that you would like to add. And then now, obviously, the face for me is a little bit too big, yes? And for some, it might be okay. You know, you can place it on the corner and then leave it as that, and then maybe play around with this, you know. But obviously, when you want, like, for example, if I want the entire house in frame, but there's also that, which is a bit of a pain, right? So how do you go about fixing a situation like that? Now, there are many ways in which people can be able to fix this. My way, I would duplicate the picture. So I'm going to press Alt and I'm just going to drag that layer down. Okay, that way I've got two pictures. And now I've got the one at the bottom. I'm going to Control T to select it. And then I'm going to drag it over. Okay, and then now it looks ridiculous, obviously, because I've got the branches still showing there. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hide my picture, which is at the top. I'm going to click the eye tool, and then I'm going to merge these two pictures. I'm actually going to turn them into convert into smart object. I'm not sure if it'll allow me to edit the smart object, but let me check because I can't remember, to be honest. Will it allow me? I think it will. I think it will. Okay, so I've basically merged both pictures by converting them into a smart object. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try and get this to expand across so that it looks like it's kind of ongoing like that. Not that I really need that part because my sim self is going to be covering that section. So the most important section is at the top there, and that's where I'm going to be concentrating on. And so utilizing this tool, which is basically where the spot healing brush is in Photoshop, just go to the patch tool. I enjoy the patch tool because if there's any slightly small errors and things like that, it allows me to kind of fix them really, really easily. So I want this water to kind of come across there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm literally going to draw around the tree. It doesn't have to be perfect so long as you've gotten all of it. And then I'm going to drag. Okay, it says the smart object must be raster size. Okay, so let's go ahead and raster size. Okay, that's why I was saying that I'm not sure if it's going to allow me to edit the smart object, and that's fine. You can convert it back to a smart object after the fact. And so after I've written around it, basically drawn around it, it creates this little lines around it, as you can see. And all you have to do is basically drag across. Now you can see, because Photoshop has now created this AI effect where it detects what you're trying to do and it offers you options. Okay, but in my case, I don't need any of the options that it's offering because I already know what I need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and click where the tree is, and I'm going to drag it to the right. As I drag it to the right, it copies, right, the water basically, and voila, the tree is gone. And in order to move away from it, I just click anywhere on the image, and then it clears that. And so now we need to do the same for the remaining parts. So literally, you know, obviously try to make them as small as possible, depending on the space that you're going to be able to use that. So this one, I've made it quite big, but I'm hoping I'll still be able to pull it off because it goes all the way around. Yep, that's fine. And then I'm going to do that again because it was quite large. But this time, because I've got loads of water up there, I can actually be able to utilize that. As you can see, I've got a small part of the tree still showing there. So I'm going to take that small as it is, drag it, and hopefully that has cleared that up. And then I'm going to do the same, carry on, move that up. And then I'm going to carry that as well, move it up. There we go. And the more you do it, basically, the more it clears up, the more it basically copies where you are trying to copy so it matches. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then just so I can see how it's doing, I'm gonna, yep, that's not too bad. So I am going to keep going a little bit more. And then in this case, I'm actually going to take this like that, like that. And I'm actually going to drag it across like this. That way it creates like a, what looks as though the background is carrying on. That is the whole aim of this, okay? That's literally, and I'm going to take that across. And I'm actually going to put the, there we go. Because that was showing up at the background of my sim self. And you just have to carry on. And it does require a bit of patience, okay? But this is just to give you an idea, like Photoshop, you can easily create really good thumbnails. But in order to create good thumbnails, one of the most important aspects of it is creating, removing the background and being able to crop your pictures properly. And the best element to be able to do that is obviously the selection tool or the auto background remover that Photoshop actually offers you. So in this case, I'm putting that back, and look, there you have it. You've got a decent looking thumbnail already. Now, some things that people might be concerned with, I'm going to zoom in at things like this, right? So when I have things like this, what I tend to do, especially if I am not going to be using the mask tool, okay, if for example I decide not to use the mask tool and I want to do it from scratch, for me that's what normally permits me to be able to edit those bits out even better. But I'm going to double click on the image so I can bring up the mask option. There we go. So as you can see, it's showing me where the image is, and then it's got feathering and things like that. So I'm going to see that global refinement. So I'm going to increase the smoothness. That way the edges are a lot more smoother. And then I'm going to feather it a little bit as well. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit of contrast slightly, but I'm definitely going to increase the smoothness by a large amount because I do want it to be really smooth. And I'm going to click OK. Now, with this situation, when you increase the smoothness, you might have to go back and forth. Click OK, have a look, come back to it again. So you literally click OK, and then it will show you the results. As you can see, it's added a bit of a highlighter, which is actually quite nice. I do like that, but it's a lot smoother. It's less rough, right? And it looks a lot nicer. So that's how you can kind of go about it. Another thing, obviously, that you could work on is, for instance, let's say, you see my sim self actually has got spots. Yes, we're realistic out here. But you can see my sim self has spots. So for example, you've got a nice picture that you've taken that you really like, but you maybe have had a rough few weeks, months, and you've got really bad breakout, but you still want to use that image, but you want to reduce the amount of spots that are visible on that particular picture, right? In order to do that, I'm hoping you to allow me from here. Let me see. If it treats it like a smart object, I'll show you how to go about doing it. You basically have to go, remember I showed you the spot healing brush where I took the patch tool brushes where the spot healing brush is. So the same section, all you have to do is go to the spot healing brush. And when you go to the spot healing brush, you should be able to remove the spots. Now, as you can see, it's giving me the stop sign because it's treating it like a smart object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on it, and it's going to bring me back to the one I initially edited to crop out the bottom section. And that's where it will actually allow me to edit the spots out. So I'm going to zoom in by pressing on Alt and scrolling forward with my mouse. So basically, when you scroll forward and back, you zoom in and out of your image with Photoshop. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm actually going to aim just for that spot, okay? As you can see, the circle is really small to fit the size. If, let's say, for example, you're trying something, a spot is much a lot bigger, etc., that sort of thing. In order to increase and decrease the size of the cursor that you're using at the time, you have to use the square brackets. I'm not sure their exact name, to be honest. For some bizarre reason, I have never learned their name. But just to give you an idea, I will draw on the picture, and then so you see what they are that I'm talking about. Then use the red, and then I'm going to just delete it because I can do that. The brackets look something like this. They're just very straight like that. And then the other one is like that. Oh, wrong. Why did I zig it like that? That was so weird. And like that. So the brackets look like that. Those are the brackets that you actually need in order to increase and decrease the size of the cursor. So this will affect the size of the brush if you're trying to draw something. Like, for example, if I want it to be bigger and I want to do that, it makes it bigger. If I want it to be super small, I just use, so basically to increase the size, it's that one. To decrease the size is the one on the left. So the left decreases the size, the right increases the size. You just have to click on it. You don't have to click on Shift or Alt. Literally just click on those keys and you're good. So I'm going to just Control Z this, undo, and then we're good. So now we're going to go back to the spot healing brush, and literally with the spot healing brush, with the cursor, the size that you need it to be. So this is too big. So I'm literally going to make it be around the size of the zit itself. And I'm just going to click on it once. And voila, the spot is gone. Okay, so if I see any of the spots that I want to get rid of there, and it's gone. There's that little red patch here, or brown patch, whatever it is. Okay, gone. Another one there, gone. Okay, let's try and get rid of that one over here. Click on that, gone. There's another one up here. Voila. There's a lot more spots down here, but you get the gist of it, okay? If you've got spots that you want to remove on Photoshop, you literally can just do that. Just literally click on them, and it will help you get rid of them, because what it does is it takes a sample of your full skin and it kind of replaces it, which is such a great feature, you know, and it doesn't ruin the picture as well, which is really, really good. So I'm just going to zoom back out. As you can see, I don't need to get rid of all of the others, but this is just to give you an idea. And then afterwards, you just have to click on Control S, which is Control Save, or you can go to File and click on Save for it to save it. And you can actually close that section because you have to go back to the main picture that you're editing, and it should have edited out all the spots that you need editing out. So when I zoom back out, you can see the full thumbnail kind of looks something like this. And so now let's go to, I don't know, you've added your background, you've removed the background of the initial picture, you've added whatever other background that you want to add, and let's try and add some font to it. Like I mentioned earlier on, I never veer away from Montserrat or Helvetica. Those are the two fonts that I do prefer to utilize. You know what? Something else I forgot to do. Honestly, let me add some background music because I feel like Let's add that one. Yeah. Let's add some ambiance into the place, shall we? Okay, so basically we're going to add some font to the thumbnail. So for instance, this one, obviously this is not specific to any video, so we're going to make up the title. I suppose we could say, shall we call it, what shall we call it? Let's call it Elaka's seaside property. Yes, that's what we're going to call it. Elaka seaside property. So if you're in Photoshop, obviously just use the T button and you just click anywhere, and then it will automatically create the layer for you to be able to start typing your wording in. Okay. And for me, again, as a rule of thumb, I always have the uppercase activated. Right now it's not, so I'm going to click on capitals, all caps on, switch on all caps. And as you can see, standard, it's got Myriad Pro, right? So I'm going to go ahead and type first, and then I'm going to change the font. So this is Elaka's Seaside. Oh, I'm going to call it Getaway. That's it. Elaka Seaside Getaway. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on there. And the good thing about Photoshop, again, because it brings out this little thing, I should be able to change the font without going anywhere else. Obviously, I've got the option of doing that, highlighting the font and changing from up there. Or I can utilize this little pop-up it's given me, or I can utilize this pop-up obviously from the side if I want to. So let's try and use this little new feature that it's given us, and we are looking for Montserrat. So all I have to do is click on the drop-down menu, and it automatically highlights the font that's currently there, and I'm going for Montserrat. But as you can see, because I use Montserrat quite a lot, it's already offering it at the beginning. Okay, and then you've got Helvetica here as well. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and try and look for it. Now here, the problem that I've made right now, I don't know if anyone has noticed the mistake I've made, is that I've chosen for this little thing to be right in front of the font. That way I cannot see what the font is being turned into. So I'm going to click away, and then I'm going to move it to this side. That way when I click on the drop-down menu, it doesn't block the actual font. So we're going to go ahead and look through the Montserrat, and then we're going to see which Montserrat that we want. So I would like Montserrat. I always just look to see. Normally, I honestly go with black or bold. So I'm going to go with black. Click on that, and it's made it bold enough. But red on a very colorful background like this, it literally does not work. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change it to white. So I'm going to click on those colors to get the color picker, and I'm just going to drag that over to the corner to get white. And again, because the background is quite busy, right? And this is where choosing how you present your thumbnails is very, very important in terms of making it readable and accessible, basically, or have accessibility of some sorts for all audiences, right? Even if I have used white to create it into Elaka Seaside Getaway, it's still not that clear because the background is extremely busy, correct? And so here you have many options you can utilize, okay? You can use a lower third type thing, leaderboard, type situation, or you can put a stroke. And this is where you have to use trial and error. Now, I might be saying, yes, put a stroke. The stroke actually might not work. However, there's only one way to find out. So in this case, I'm going to first of all center align the font. And in order to do that, I tend to just drag it around. As you can see, the little pink line is showing me when I have reached the center. And then I'm going to go ahead to the layer where the font is, or should I say the layer for the font, and I'm going to right click. When I right click on it, the top option at the menu that comes up is blending options. That's what we want, so click on that. And when you select on blending options, when you look down the list on the left, the one that says stroke is the one that you need. So you have to go ahead and click on it. And when you click on it, it gives you the option of the stroke. Now, right now, the good thing about Photoshop as well, by the way, it always maintains your previously used option. So whether you use the stroke, gradient, whatever, the type of stroke that you use, it maintains it. So when I was creating the thumbnail for this video, I used the gradient that's got like a blue and a pink, which creates like a purplish in between as well. And so that's what it's automatically picking. Okay. But that's not what we're after in this particular tutorial, because one of the things I'm looking at is I'm looking at how busy the background is. And I'm also looking at the color features on the picture itself, okay, of the face. And so that's what I want to follow. So in this case, I'm going to click where it says gradient. There's a little arrow. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to just choose color. That way it's not going to be gradient format. It's just going to be a plain color. Now, so far, the red one is the one that's the default on it for now anyways, but I'm going to change that. Obviously the red one, it is making it come out a bit more, stand out a bit more, but it's not fully going with the entire theme because I'm trying to avoid having too many colors that don't fully match, so to speak. So what I tend to do is I'll test out different colors that go with it, right? So when let me go back. When I click on that, okay, it brings up the color picker tool as well. And the good thing about when it brings up the color picker tool here is it allows you to sample any color anywhere on your screen, literally anywhere, which is great. Well, within, the artboard. So in this case, I want to sample maybe somewhere from the hair and see what that looks like. And it does give you a live preview if memory serves me well. So that doesn't work. Why? Because it looks like white on white on white. I'm going to click on her skin. That gives us a little bit of an orange one. Okay, let's click on her lips. That gives us like a little dark red. And then obviously there's the eyebrows. That's going to be like a black anyways. And then there's that. We can go to the house section and see there's an orange. There's like a black. And so this is where I always go back and forth to try and figure out which one actually works. And also which one you think looks nice in your eyes, in your opinion. And in this case, I think maybe I should stick with the red. The brighter red. Let's go on the other side of the lips. And like a seaside getaway. It seems to kind of sort of work, but I think it might need some shadowing to it. So the size of it as well, maybe. So right now it's 4 pixels. So I'm going to try just highlighting the 4 and I'm going to make it 5 and see what 5 does. Yeah, 5 is fine. Obviously I pressed enter and it just went away and I shouldn't have done that. So I'm just going to double click on it. If it will let me, double click on the effect and it should bring up there we go. It should bring it up again. And I'm going to go back to the stroke. And then I'm going to look at position. It says outside, inside, center. We don't have blending mode. The other thing I want to add to just make it stand out a bit more so that it doesn't allow the background to swallow the wording is I'm going to add a drop shadow. So at the very bottom of that list, where the stroke is, the drop shadow is there. I'm going to click on the drop shadow and it automatically appears. However, the last time I obviously used the drop shadow, I used a different type of measurements. And so, but I want the drop shadow to be more obvious. And so in this case, I'm going to add to the opacity of the drop shadow. And then I'm going to reduce the distance because right now it's quite far away. That's why, can you see? You can almost see it. That's the distance, it's far. So I'm going to bring it back closer. Okay. And then I'm going to also reduce the size of it. Because when you increase the size, it becomes like this massive fog, like a blur. So I'm going to decrease the size of it. There you go. Can you see that? It's kind of like allowed for the wording to stand out a bit more. So that's how you can get your word to kind of like be more visible, be more prominent for people to actually be able to see. So I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to actually expand the words. Okay, in as much as this is good, I'm actually going to make them bigger. So I'm going to click on Control T and then I'm going to click on Alt and I'm just going to increase the size literally. Because this allows it to be very easy for people to actually be able to read, okay? And honestly, if you're not looking for anything too much, too complicated, this could be your thumbnail and you're done. But something I do recommend that I mentioned in the beginning of the video is to always make sure that your branding is visible in some way, shape, or form on your thumbnail. Because whenever people search for things in Google Images and things like that, believe it or not, thumbnails do come up as well. And so when you've got your label on your thumbnail and maybe someone sees your thumbnail and you don't have your branding on it, they can easily reuse your thumbnail for something else when it's your thumbnail that you've put time and work into creating. So that's one reason for putting your logo onto it, but also it's another reason for people to be able to recognize your thumbnails more easily, to say, oh, okay, this is that brand because I recognize their logo, etc., that sort of thing. So in my case, I am going to go ahead and put the logo for, this is Elaka TV. So I'm going to go ahead. Did I transfer them? Let me just check. The Sims 4 gaming. What's the other one saying? Artwork. Okay, let's check this one. Okay. We've got the Elaka ones. Let's find the Elaka. So that's the Elaka logo. That's the one that you're actually seeing at the corner top here, right here at the top here. That's the one. I literally just duplicated the Elaka logo and I just basically created a gradient where it goes. Actually, I didn't really create a gradient. I literally recolored each and every one of them because I wanted it to look this way. Anyways, that's just a little side note. So I'm going to get the Elaka logo. The Elaka logo is standard color, it's like a dark blue. However, depending on the type of thumbnail, etc., that sort of thing, that might have to change, correct? So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in. Okay, it's going to appear at the very top of everything. And then we have to reduce it inside, obviously. I do not want it to get skewed. There we go. I have to maintain its aspect ratio. That's very important to me. And then we are going to bring it maybe to the side. And the reason why I'm bringing it here is because obviously I've got the face there, I've got that there. However, with that said, you can switch things up. You can literally, let me accept that. You can literally bring the face this side, but the problem with that is we've already stationed the house and stuff like that. But the workaround for that is if you decide, oh no, I want the face on this side and I want the image this side, no problemo. The image has no specific wording on it, right? Like in terms of the actual image, it's got no wording on it. So what you can actually do with this one is Control T, okay, select that same image and then right click and basically flip it. You literally just have to flip it over. So I'm going to flip it horizontally. That way my image is basically still there and then I can just push that along this way. The image basically is now on my left. Sorry, the background image is on my right, on my left, yes, and the face is on my right. And so I've been able to kind of do that. And then I can be able to put even the logo in front of me like that, if I want it that way, okay, because it's more visible there. Or if I want it to be slightly different, this is where you have to start adding things like lower thirds, etc., that sort of thing. In my case, I put the semicircle, but honestly, you can choose whatever you want. For instance, you can choose something like, I'll bring out the rectangle tool, and then I'll just bring it out like this, okay. And the good thing about the rectangle tool in Photoshop, if you don't want it to be like square like this, you see the little dots that are showing as soon as I have implemented it. When you click on any one of them and you push inwards, it actually creates a curve. That way you've got a curved thumbnail type situation going on, you know, or lower third, which makes it a little bit more fancy. Now, if you don't want to block this section of your property, in this case of your image, you know, this is some of the dilemmas that you might face, right? Where like, oh, but I don't want to block something of the image. This is where you might have to play around with putting the image in certain spaces within the photograph, or within the thumbnail, should I say. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to bring that one here. And then I'm actually going to move the face upwards. Okay, so this is how you can be able to kind of sort of manipulate the situation so that you get everything that you want. So I'm going to Control T there we go. And then I can actually bring that over like this. That's an option, especially if you want to maintain that, you know, the circular kind of like corners and you want it to show that way. Or you can push it all the way through. Personally, like this, yet this seems ideal, but I don't like the fact that I've got that gap. So I would recommend that you push it completely in. Okay, but you notice that once I've done that, there's a bit of the picture there because it's at the base of the picture. And this is where you go and click on the picture, Control T, and then you just reduce the size of the picture. Reduce the size of the picture. That way you get it to fit. Okay, and as you can see, the Elaka logo is currently not showing, right? So I'm going to go back to the layers, and then I'm going to just drag that to the very top. Okay, and drag that to the very top. And that can help you maintain your branding. And like I said, this is a very simple one. It's nothing, you know, extraordinary. But this is just to give you an idea. Now, the Elaka logo for me right now, as well as the lower third I have created, do not really match the whole aesthetic, right? So we want to change that, right? So I'm going to go back to the rectangle. I'm going to click on the rectangle tool. That way I can change the color. So there, I'm going to go ahead and click on that so that I can get the color picker. And I'm actually going to pick the colors from here and see what I get. I'm going to click on OK. There we go. It's gone and changed it. Do I want that? I'm not sure. So let's go and try another color, the seaside background itself. And then there's that. So it kind of sort of matches with the seaside background a little bit. Another option would be for me to do that again and then maybe get the grass, green, and then I've got that. Okay, so basically choose whatever it is that you feel match the aesthetics, but also bear in mind that you added red around the wording at the top, right? So because of that, my recommendation is go back to the rectangle tool, click on the color picker, and then go ahead and click where the red is so that you can pick that color and then let that be the one that shows up there. So it's kind of like, it's not a full red because remember we sampled from the lips. So it's not a bright red. It's almost like a dark peach, which is not bad at all. Also something else you notice is the thumbnail actually has a, the lower third has actually got a stroke around it. We are actually going to get rid of that because we don't need it. And then I'm going to go ahead and change the color of the Elaka logo. Now, bear in mind the Elaka logo is a picture, but it's a PNG, which means it's got a transparent background. Okay, and the easiest way to actually change that is create a new layer right above it, directly above it, and then you have to basically mask it. Okay, so pressing the Alt key, I'm literally gonna go ahead and mask it that way. That way, whatever color I place where it says layer 1 over here is going to be the color that the Elaka changes to. In this case, I'm actually just going to change it to white, simply because to follow the theme that's going on at the top there. And I'm going to go ahead and just color it in, and voila, done. So that's one of the most basic ways you can be able to create like a simple but effective thumbnail. Make sure that the edges are nice and clean, it's not badly cropped off, you know, and things like that, because I think that does affect your branding to a degree. Always make sure, like, for example, if you are not able to, how can I put it? If you have got images that are kind of difficult to position, try to push them to the edge. Push them to the edges, or you know what I mean, push them to the edges or add things on top of them. That way you mask out anything that might look unpleasant to the eye. So that's one way you can be able to do it. And obviously you can go ahead and put a frame like the way I normally do. That's an option, but this is just a rough idea. Okay, and so that is Photoshop. Now there's also places like Photopea. With Photopea, again, kind of similar fashion. You literally file, new, and then you can get the, what were the specs again? I've forgotten them already. What were the specs? Let me go to Elaka artwork. Where am I? Cover art. Here we go, because they're all the same. 1781 by 981. So, oh, where am I? There we go. 1781 pixels by 981 pixels by 981 pixels. And go ahead and create. Okay, and then you can literally do the same thing. Now, the difference is I'm going to do file and I'm going to add open in place. This is Photopea. Photopea, you literally have to just go to photopea.com and you can access it completely free. So you don't need a subscription like Photoshop, although Photopea does have a subscription option, especially if you want to be able to maintain your, what the heck kind of advert is this? Let's hide that. Especially if you want to maintain your, whatchamacallit, you want to maintain your work. If you have a paid membership for Photopea, you can actually be able to continuously save your work in the cloud and access anywhere else that you open Photopea. So in this case, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to go to, where is it? This drive, it's D drive, and Sims 4 screenshots. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go and get, this time I'm actually not going to get the Elaka one. I'm going to get this other sim I created. Where is she? Her. I'm going to use her. Okay. And again, as you can see with this one, it doesn't fit entirely. So the aim here is to basically try and get it to be bigger. Oh, Control Z that. Let's get that to fit the entire screen. I'm pressing Shift and Alt all together to expand it and maintain the aspect ratio. Now, you might have pictures like this where you might have difficulties like separating the background, because you can see her hair is blending into part of the background. So what do you do in situations like this? And if it happens, it's someplace like Photopea that you are actually utilizing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to double click on the image. That way it opens in a new tab. That way I can edit it without interfering with the rest of it. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the quick selection tool. There's the object selection tool, which basically when you click on it, when you click on it, it's literally the cross should be fully inside the object. I am fully inside the object. What are you talking about? I think it's trying to do this. Yeah, there you go. Let me Control Z. So for example, if I just come from there and I literally click and draw across, this is the object selection tool. It allows you to select the object. The only thing is it's struggling to detect said object, correct? So I'm going to click on Control Z, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the quick selection tool, not the magic wand, quick selection tool. Quick selection tool is normally my go-to. Like what I showed you in Photoshop, where I was trying to refine the image to make sure I remove certain parts of the background. Technically, those are the features for the quick selection tool. So in Photopea, with photopea.com, if you click on the quick selection tool, as you can see, I've got the little dot there, but I'm going to expand that, okay? And like I showed you guys before, using those brackets, you can increase it and decrease it just like Photoshop. So I'm going to increase it in slightly, and then I'm going to choose the plus or minus. In this case, I am going to use the plus first because I want to select the object, and then anything else that I don't want to be included when I remove the background, then I'm going to use the minus. So the minus is when you're adding and deleting kind of thing. It's kind of self-explanatory, really. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go around her. Now, as you can see, I've clicked once, but because somehow Photopea is really overzealous, it's gone ahead and clicked quite a lot of the background. So this, before I go ahead and click the minus, I'm actually going to zoom in here and I'm going to scroll down. As you can see, a little bit of a t-shirt is still not selected. So I'm going to decrease the size. Okay. Whenever the brush size is large, it does tend to select a lot larger areas, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. As you can see, as I've done that, it has literally expanded its area, which is fine because we can fix that. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same here as well. For some reason, Photopea is really laggy. It's being really, really laggy right now, which is very unusual. And then I'm going to go ahead and use the minus now. And I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, literally just have to go. And this is where you have to do a lot of back and forth with the minus and the plus, as you can see, because it will fight you. It will fight you for real estate on your image. Come on. Let's remove that because we don't need. Why is it so laggy? It's being really laggy. Maybe it's because I'm live streaming and I'm sharing the screen. Because normally when it's not laggy, I can smoothly literally go through. You see that? I'm literally pressing like once or twice and it's literally having a mind of its own, but I'm trying to be as careful. Okay, there you go. Let go. As you can see, how you know there's like the little dotted lines across. So this side is near perfect. I'm hoping and praying it stays perfect. So I'm going to zoom out. Zoom out. And then I'm just going to bring the cursor right to this side so I can zoom in on this side more. So the easy way to zoom in and out on certain points is take your cursor to a section and zoom in on it. It will take you to that side. So I'm going to zoom into that corner. That way I can get more of this coming forward. And then I am going to go ahead and go through like that. There we go. Okay, so it's at least gotten rid of a lot of it, but I need the plus now because part of her t-shirt has not been included. So I want that to come out a bit. Oh, and it's taking it. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a nightmare. Minus again. It literally doesn't want me to win. It does not want me to be great. Right, what we're going to do to try and elevate this situation, we're going to zoom in some more. It does not want me to win. And then that way I can decrease this. And then I'm going to use the plus because I do want that part of the t-shirt to be in there. And it's going to done it again. Can you see? This is so annoying. And that's the faux pas about this sometimes. So because it didn't do so badly, so this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do Control C, Control V. Okay. And then I'm going to hide the background for now. And then I'm going to do it again. All right. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it again. Because before, I think it was getting a lot confused. So this is another way that I tend to do that. As you can see, it's really, really small. It's almost not visible. So I'm going to do that. My gosh, can you please stop being laggy? My gosh, it's getting on my nerves. Okay, it's still doing the same thing. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to click Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay, so to make life easier, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the eraser tool. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to take the magic eraser tool, and then I am actually just going to click on the blue bits because they are not the same color as the rest of her. So they're very easy to remove. Okay, so and then I'm going to go ahead and I am going to take the eraser tool now. Instead of the magic eraser now, the eraser tool, I'm going to use those brackets, increase it in size immensely, making sure that the hardness is on 100%, because if you've got feathering, it will literally go ahead and paint other stuff that you don't want it to, or delete stuff that you don't want it to. So this is just to refine deleting stuff. Okay, so this, I'm going to literally zoom in and then decrease the size of that. I'm just going to, this is where you just have to be really gentle with your hand. And delete that. Come on, all right. There we go. And then that, decrease it in size, and that. So this is the manual. When I talk about the manual way to editing the pictures, so let me use that hand tool to just move it easily. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to the manual. So I'm going to come here because I saw that. Go back to the eraser tool, zoom in, right in, and then boom, 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 boom. There we go. We've removed that nonsense that was there. And then another thing, I don't know if anyone has noticed, when I zoom in here, a bit of the background is showing, right? So I'm going to zoom completely in, and then I'm going to collect the magic eraser tool, and I'm literally just going to click inside there, and it should get rid of that. Voila. Okay. So that makes it easier. And then another way I tend to test them out is I create a new layer, and then I get a random color that is not the same. What am I doing? Where is my, there you are. Elaka tool there, thank you. This is what I was meant to press. I'm gonna take the color blue actually, because there's no blue on her. Dark as possible, yes. And then I'm just gonna color that background. And the reason why I do that is to see if there's any specks in the background of anything that I've left out. You know, as you can see, there's absolutely nothing, and she is absolutely gorgeous. Look at her. Oh, I love her. Anyway, let me behave myself. Let me delete that because I don't need that anymore. And then put that on the center. As you can see now, she is completely background free. Now here's the gotcha. When I try to save it like this, it's likely, I don't know if Photoshop maybe overrides this rule, but in Photoshop does not allow you, because it's technically a background and should stay that way. Photoshop always tries to ask you to save it as a new image whenever it seems you've added a layer to the background. So let's see if it's going to allow us to do that. I'm gonna smart object updated. Okay, Photopea overrides that. That's one advantage, because in Photoshop it literally wouldn't let me, because we've got the background option there. It would tell me save as something else because you've gone ahead and changed the background, blah blah blah, and it whinges. So the good thing about Photoshop, it tends to override that, which is perfect, because then we don't have to make this visible anymore, but we get to maintain the transparent background from the image, which is what we have here. So as you can see now, she's on the white background. If I hide this white background, you can see it's still transparent. And so now that brings me to adding your own custom background, right? And so this is where you go to File, and then make sure obviously that you've selected underneath the image that you've just created a transparency with, and then Open in Place. open in place, let's look for a background for her. In this case, what background should I find for her? I feel like I've got not nice backgrounds in there. Let me go to this one. Some stories, videos, and screenshots. I've got more here. If I can see the word screenshots, there it is. There we go. Oh yes, I've got some nice backgrounds here for this build. I hope. I know it's all about buildings. Although I do have some really nice like backgrounds I have created before, but the problem with that is finding them, and I don't have time to just keep trying to find them. Okay, we've got that one. We've got a night one. That's quite pretty. Yeah, let's add that one. Let's add that one, and then we can use that one. Okay, so as you can see, the background's there, and I'm just going to use Alt and Shift to expand it so that I don't skew it. That way it fills up the background, and then check mark to accept it. And then we are going to go ahead and we're going to move this. As you can see, you can now place her wherever you want, right? Depending on how you want your background to be created. And so in order not to skew her, this, by the way, is Photopea, not Photoshop, but Photopea looks similar to Photoshop and it's completely free. Press down the Alt key and the Shift key and then literally push it inwards. That way you get her image to get smaller, and then you can place her on the corner. Okay, this is literally the standard, and I don't know if someone made an actual rule to say, oh, the picture has to be in the corner, but it works. You know, it's kind of like you giving a presentation kind of situation. So we've put her there, or she can come and be on this side, depending on what you want to showcase on the image. I think she probably is better off this side. I'm going to move her a little bit more, actually. That way you can see more of the property. And then this one, we can maybe name it something along the lines of, because this is in Strangerville, right? I'm going to call it Strangerville Nights. Honestly, I'm going to call it Strangerville Nights. So I mentioned earlier that I never veer away from Montserrat or Helvetica. Those are my main fonts. So what do you do when those fonts are not available to you? You have to find a font that I said that is visible, that is readable, and one that you know you can be able to easily access without having to pay extra for it. Okay, so in this case, if I'm not mistaken, I think Photopea does have access to either Helvetica or Montserrat or both. If not, there are fonts like Bebas. I don't know if it's supposed to be pronounced Bebas. Bebas is actually quite good. I would recommend it. Myriad Pro is not too bad either. I'm not sure if Photopea has got it, but let's find out, shall we? So click on the T icon in order to get the text, and then just click anywhere within your project file and start typing. So what did I say I was going to call it? Strangerville Nights, right? I'm gonna get all caps switched on and Strangerville Nights. Okay, Strangerville Nights, a very short title. That will do. And as you can see, it's got the blue color, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on Alt, and I'm just going to try and increase it in size. Hang on. There we go. As you can see, I'm skewing it slightly, but I'm trying to get it back to normal. There we go, Strangerville Nights. I'm going to leave that there. Now, here's the thing. The color kind of matches the background. And so there is a way you can be able to maintain this color and then just add a frame around. Obviously, the other option is for you to just click on the T here option and just change it, you know, change it up from there. But the other option is to use the blending options, you know, right click, blending options, just like in Photoshop, and then just bring that down so you can see what you're doing. Click on stroke. Okay, and I'm going through this quickly because it's the same elements, right? Like what I just showed you in Photoshop. So it's like me doing this twice. And then in this case, you can maybe click on her pink top, pink part of her top, click OK, and then just increase the size maybe slightly. Some of them, I do them like this. Again, it depends. For example, if you're doing a lot of cooking videos and things like that, this kind of font is really, really good because it reminds you of ice cream, right? You know, so you have to think about stuff like that, depending on what it is that you are putting out there, depending on the type of content you're putting out there, the style on how you make your font appear can reflect the type of content that you are actually creating. And so this, I'm going to call it Strangerville Nights. And I'm actually going to leave it like this because I kind of like it works. Okay, just put it this way, it works. Like also sometimes you will just know when something works, and this somehow works. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on, there goes my Alexa. And I'm going to expand this by clicking on Shift and Alt and get that to get a little bit bigger so it's more visible for the masses. And again, like Photoshop, it does have, can you see the little red line to show me where the center is? It's literally guiding me so that I can get on center. And you can literally almost feel it. It's really weird, even if you can't physically feel it, but you can almost feel it, like do like a clip where it stops you to say you have to stop here because this is the center, this is the middle. And so I'm going to click on the check mark to click OK. And that is kind of done. Now, remember we mentioned about the branding aspect of it as well. In, again, a very similar fashion. Click on File, Place, Open in Place. And I'm going to go ahead and collect the Elaka. Where is it? Okay. If I can try and find it. Hang on, let me do this. There. That way it's closer. I've got so many files in this folder. Hang on, where is it? Yes, here. Yeah, it's under here. Okay, and I need the artwork. I need the logo. Yeah. Elaka. I'm going to bring that down. And this is just so that you guys can see. And I'm going to press Shift and Alt. Move it to the side. And this time I'm going to do it slightly differently from the way I did the one in Photoshop. Okay, with this one, I think what will work best. Undo. Okay, so did you see what just happened right now? I accidentally moved the background. So in order to avoid that happening, my recommendation, if you are done editing a particular section and you don't want to accidentally delete it or anything like that, right? Click on that layer and then click on the, basically the, what's it called? The lock, okay? Click on the layer and click on the lock, because that way it locks it in place and it cannot be deleted or edited by accident. So that's the perfect way to safeguard yourself having to do things all over again because you made a mistake. So in this case, I'm clicking on that, and then I'm also going to click on her as well. And then I'm going to click on Strangerville Nights as well, because I don't need to move that. I'm going to leave the Elaka logo. I'm not going to touch it, but I'm also going to make sure I'm still selected below it, because I would recommend, if something like this, another way, like I said, you know, a lower third is always very, very helpful in order to alleviate you having to worry about having text or logos, etc., that sort of thing, blending in with your background and then not being noticeable by whoever your audience are. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to open up the let go. There you go. And it's black, but we don't want it to be black. We definitely do not want it to be black. And so because it doesn't match this, there's already like the background is dark. She's got a nice glow on her, but I want the words to kind of stand out a little bit more. So in this case, to just play around a little bit more. So I'm going to, whilst I'm still selected on the rectangle tool, I'm going to go ahead and click on the fill. And then I'm going to click there so that I can get the color picker. When I click on that, I get the color picker. And then within the color picker, remember, it allows you to go and pick wherever within your workplace, right? Workspace, should I say. And I'm going to click on the pink. It's like a purplish pink anyways. And I'm going to click on OK. And that should change the entire color of that. And I'm going to go ahead and click that. And then now here's where I can play about with it and figure out exactly how I want it to be. You can choose for it to just be completely at the bottom, or you can choose for it to show slightly a little bit of the image at the bottom. I do recommend this. For some reason, there's a style about it that makes it look kind of nice. And so I'm going to keep it at like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock it in place, because now the next thing I'm going to play with is the logo. Now, in this case, because I have already put the title at the top there, Strangerville Nights, the idea here is honestly just to maintain your branding and your logo. And so in this case, I'm going to try and center align it. Now, Photopea is really good when it comes to measurement. As you can see all kinds of numbers around it, right? And Photoshop is good. Photopea is good like that. So I'm going to zoom in using Alt and scrolling forward with the mouse key. That way I can still see the numbers. As you can see here, it says 600. And this side it says 621, which means the space between the end and the logo is 621 pixels, whereas on the other side is 600, which makes it uneven. But because I want it to be centered, right? So in order to center align it, I'm literally just going to push it towards the right. That way, the 620 something decreases in size, and the one that's 600 flat increases until I get a matching measurement on both sides. Now, for some reason, one side is now saying 611 and the other one is saying 610, but that's not down to bad measurement. It's because my logo itself, it's the actual size of my logo, which means my logo, when I designed it, I did not give it an even number when it comes to the length of it. Okay, so whenever you see a situation like that, do not fret. Just go that this is the most central I can get it to be, and so I'm going to just go with that. And then here I feel the logo is a little bit too big at the top and the bottom, so I'm going to click on my Shift and Alt, and then I'm going to drag it in the middle a little bit more, which probably is going to prompt me to have to resize it again. Okay, it's giving me that this is the center, so let's see what happens when I do that. And I click on Select. It says 658, 659. That's fine. It's still centered as it's supposed to be. And that's that. So now the next thing I'm going to do, even if my logo is a dark blue, I want it to match that blue because the blue matches the entire aesthetic. Okay. This is where you can basically change up the colors of your logo without actually editing your logo. You know, every time you basically are creating a different thumbnail and you want to go with the particular theme of that thumbnail. And so like I did in Photoshop, I am going to create a new layer, and then I am going to basically press Alt, and I'm going to mask it on top of that particular layer. Oh, wrong one. I'm going to mask it on that particular layer. Okay. And then that layer, I am going to get the bucket tool. Okay. The color bucket tool. Make sure that I've got the right color by using the color picker tool. Okay, and I'm literally just going to go ahead and just pour it in. There you go. You can see the change is very slight because the blue was very close to my original blue, but that's what you get. So for example, if you had a different color in there, I would recommend that your logo has similar colors. I always recommend that your title and your logo colors match, because that I feel helps with the aesthetics of your thumbnail. And so if you've created a thumbnail, and this will allow you basically, especially if you want to maintain your brand to be a particular way, you can kind of keep it like that and keep your logo down there and have your titles up there all the time, and then just mess around with the background however you please. Okay, so that's one way to do it. I think I might quickly maybe even go through, let's say if you've got multiple people that you're trying to add, right, to your thumbnail, what do you do? Okay, because so far I've literally just given you a thumbnail tutorials on how to edit the background of one person and then make the most of them being on the side. This is obviously based a lot of it on my own personal experience, but I will also show you roughly how to go about it with multiple people. But for that one, I'm actually going to use Photoshop because that's my go-to, and then honestly similar elements that you can be able to utilize with Photopea. And the reason why I'm going to choose Photoshop is because it's going to be quite a bit of a while for me to go through with Photopea, because it doesn't have the AI features that have been implemented in Photoshop just as yet. And so that's that one. So what I'm going to do is, after this live broadcast, I will be posting on my Patreon, and it's still going to be free, by the way, free to access. But the templates I have created, I'm going to basically just clean them up properly for you guys, create all this necessary folders, and I'm going to label them accordingly. And I'm going to post it on my Patreon so that you guys can go ahead over there and download the templates if you want to use them. So I'm going to download the Photopea template. I'm going to upload, the Photopea template, and I'm going to upload the Photoshop template for you as well. And so moving right along, the next one is Canva. Now, Canva, I don't use Canva personally. I've used it here and there to help somebody else because they use Canva, and I'm trying to get something for them so that they can easily access it. But for the most part, I honestly do not use Canva because I know how to do my own graphics from the ground up, so to speak, so Canva has never been that useful to me. With that said, those who are novices at photo editing, video editing, that sort of thing, Canva is actually quite great. That's if you are willing to put into your budget paying the subscription for Canva, because it allows you to create thumbnails. As you can see over here, it's showing video thumbnails for Facebook post landscape mode, YouTube banner, which is YouTube thumbnail. I actually talking about the banner. Yeah, videos, etc., that sort of thing. And it also, if I'm not mistaken, allows you to post automatically directly to those platforms. Additionally, if you are not looking to pay for a subscription with places like Epidemic Sound for copyright-free music, etc., Canva, I think, has a deal with them. And if you've got a subscription with them, your music should still be copyright-free when you get it from within Canva, because it's curated from places like Epidemic Sound, and they have an agreement. So when you subscribe to them, you're technically also covered for platforms like Epidemic Sound if the music came from there. Okay. And so I'm just going to quickly show you roughly what to expect if you're going to be using the free version of Canva, because remember, I don't have the paid version. Okay, so all you have to do is basically click on create a design, and then you can see it gives you the option: a document, a whiteboard, a video presentation, Facebook post landscape, YouTube thumbnail, YouTube banner, Instagram post square, document A4. So what we want, for those who are looking to do a thumbnail, this is what the tutorial is for. Just click on YouTube thumbnail. It's literally that simple. And it even shows you the measurements. Obviously, they're not the exact same measurements that I gave you, but it still works either way, so don't mind that. Although, obviously, if you're doing it from scratch, do keep the measurements that I gave you in the beginning. And so once you've got okay, it's not responding. It is not responding. I'm hoping it has not affected my entire StreamYard. Canva, you better not crash my system. You better not crash my system, because we're going to fight. Right. Literally, the whole thing is frozen right now, including my StreamYard side, all because of Canva. That is so annoying. We're trying not to stay here too long, mate. Come on. Can you imagine being held up because you're trying to give a tutorial on a particular platform? Is very unfriendly. That's literally what Canva is doing right now. Let's have a look. Okay, so at least I can see when I look at StreamYard that the cursor is still moving, but you can see this little round thing. I'm trying not to click on it because that tends to make it so much worse. So much worse. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually right click on my computer on the other side. I'm going to bring up Task Manager just to check to see what exactly is freezing. Like, Canva, come on. Okay, yeah, you see, it got scared. Yeah, I brought the big guns. Because I opened up Task Manager, somehow it kind of shook it into submission. Okay, so this is obviously the template. Once you've got that, it literally has the measurements available to you. And then the next thing that you need to do is basically add your images. Obviously, you can use the templates that are already there. If you see the templates with a little crown, those are the for pro version. So this is the paid version. Or you can just go ahead and pick, obviously, the ones that are already there, and then utilize those and just change up whatever features they have. Okay. I don't know if I want to do that because I don't know what to expect. I've never had to do that before. But you know what? For all intents and purposes, let's do that. Let's use that template. Let's see. Okay. As you can see, it's actually pretty easy. It looks pretty fun too. All this text, as you can see, as I'm scrolling through, it's getting slightly highlighted, including the image. If you notice as well, her image has got like a little white line around it. This is one way, even when you're using Photoshop, you can use the blending tool, the way I put the stroke around the text. You can actually do that with images, so long as the image has got a transparent background to make it more interesting. And again, depending on the type of audience, depending on the type of platform that you have. And so you can easily take something like this and then change it up slightly though. I wouldn't recommend that you completely copy her format because, like, come on, you know, so change it up. I'm saying her format because I'm looking at a picture of a woman there. And so rather than maintaining how she has it, you can change things up. Like, for example, you can see the picture is tilted. So maybe you can tilt it around, and then I think it should give you the option to change the image. So when I click on those dots, let me see what it has. Copy, copy style, paste, duplicate, delete layer, bring forward. Okay, yeah. This is basically whether you want the image to be in front of this, back, that's what the layering is. Alternative text, lock, link, align to page layer, replace background, apply colors to page. So when we say replace background, I'm not sure if you're talking about the background because I think her background is transparent. So I'm not sure. Let me see what link is. YouTube download, no. Okay, we don't want to link it to anything. If I right click, it should still give me the same thing. If I click on replace background, what does it mean? It's replace the background, so Control Z. Okay, and you can Control Z in this, by the way. Like almost every platform these days, you can literally Control Z, which is to go back. If you want to go forward, it's Control Y, by the way, to undo the redo. It doesn't seem to have the option to actually replace her image, but I think this is just to give you an idea. So for example, if you want to do what we just did and add an image that is transparent. Now bear in mind, unfortunately, Canva, the free version, does not have the option to erase your background. Okay, so if you are to implement a picture that is like this, so you can do what they have done here, you have to already place an image. You have to place an image that already has no background to it. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to her image. If you remember, where is she? That's her. I locked it off, right? It's her. I'm going to double click. And then I'm going to do file. I'm going to export as a PNG because we're going to use her as an example because she's got a transparent background. Okay. Sync it. Let me see, where are we? Nope, not there. Actually, stock footage. Yeah, let's put her in the stock footage. That's fine. Okay, that's been saved. Is it done? Yes, done. Good. So we're going to go back to Canva. And then we're going to click on upload. So you have to go to the left panel and click on upload to add anything that you want to add to your project file. As you can see, I was testing out what features it has so that I can be able to explain better because I couldn't remember. So here we're going to go ahead and go to this drive because this is where it is. It's for stock images. Wait, is this where? Where did I save it? I've forgotten. Hang on. Cancel that. Show me where it is, please, because I've literally forgotten where it is. Okay. G drive. G drive. Wrong place. I took it to the completely wrong place. Okay. Not G drive. G drive. So G drive. Gaming. Can you take me there, please? Today, not tomorrow. It's taking its time to load. Literally hasn't finished loading. There we go. Gaming. Same story, artwork. And then stock image, stock footage. Yeah, there we go. And then there we go. It's loading. Once it finishes, the little blue thing, the line will go away. And then literally when you click on her, it adds her to the image. And so as you can see, you can literally just use that as a template. And if you want, again, like I said, you want it to be just like hers. But the good thing, you don't have to do too much, like literally the resizing. It's very, very easy. And then let me find out how they managed to get the background on her. So let's see. If I click on her, alternative text, duplicate that, it's not there. So we are going to go and look at the elements available, shall we? Is it in the draw feature? No. Is it in the elements feature? Okay, so the elements are, you see these little bits and pieces you're seeing around? Those are the elements that were added, by the way. Let me see, draw. I'm not sure if it's, let's have a look. Let's see, what is it talking about? Yeah, you can literally draw anywhere. Okay, so that's not what we're after. I want it to be able to just automatically, let's come out of that. There we go. I wanted to be able to automatically put the frame around her. Where are the options for design? There we go. No. Draw, upload, brand. No, that's Canva Pro. Yep, those are the fonts. elements. And I've just realized when I went through the photo P1, did I mention the font that it picked? Let me see. Sorry about that, guys. Hang on. The font it ended up picking was Deja Vu Sans. Deja Vu Sans. So that seems to have worked just fine. If I highlight it and I click on text and I go through the list, does it have Montserrat? Because that's what I wanted to see. So it's got Montserrat. It's got Montserrat. Doesn't have the same style Montserrat that I have, but it actually has it. And then Helvetica. It does not have Helvetica, as you can see, but it does have Montserrat. With that said, this one, the Deja Vu Sans, seems to work just fine. And so when I talk about font that's visible, stuff like this actually works. And so you can kind of maintain that. If you see something that's too cursive and things like that, like similar to what I started off with when I started playing my Let's Play to upload, you know, they're not so visible, I think, for audiences to capture audiences so that they can come and click on your videos, etc., that sort of thing. And it's also better for the algorithm if the YouTube search can actually read the words on your thumbnails. You know, it actually does help with searching for images, believe it or not, because the AI does that these days. And so let us have a look. Position, copy style, transparency, animate, flip, edit photo. There we go. If you click on edit photo, I'm hoping the option to be able to add an outline will be there. So it's got filters, it's got effects, but the effect, it seems it's got the shadow, autofocus, duotone, and blur. Autofocus, for those who don't know autofocus, if you've got a background and you cannot remove the background, autofocus blurs out the background and makes the face more prominent. And then the tools, magic, edit, change. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't see. Let's see what adjust has. Select area, whole image, foreground. Okay, so when I've clicked on foreground, it's literally just gonna obviously select the foreground only, and then I'm going to try and see if it's got a stroke option. Saturate, texture, sharpness, clarity, vignette, vibrance. It doesn't seem to have the option. So I'm assuming that when this image was, let me see if I click on it. When this image was edited, they added a feature that's only available in the Pro version of Canva, unfortunately. But that aside, I'm going to go ahead and delete her image, and we're going to keep that in. And so literally you can easily use Canva, right, to be able to create your own video thumbnails, you know, stranger. I'm going to push that in. Really. And when you get to use the photo editing, honestly, it's all the way, you know, stranger. Okay, I typed that wrong. Strangerville nights. I don't know if you noticed that it looks slightly wrong, but I'm going to fix that. Hang on there, and then expand that. So it's really good with the sizing and placing, which is pretty cool. Strangerville. There we go. Nice. And I'm just going to say fun time. But obviously, if you don't want that, you can literally remove it. So if you're trying to go for a particular style, like you see, even the way they displayed it, the font was quite large in size, right? Which makes it more visible, a lot easier for people to actually be able to see, and you can just resize things accordingly, you know. And so depending on your branding, you can literally put that on the corner, bring that over there. Okay, literally, oh girl. Yeah, I'm moving a little fast, obviously. Bring that over there. That one too. You can even bring them like this. You can change the colors. So in this case, the font color should be up there. Yep. Change the font color, nice. And I'm going to change that one. The background color is there again. The pink. I'm going to put the purple in this background. You know, so you know what I mean? You can literally play around with it and create your own version of. And I'm going to literally put this forward, because with the layers you can bring forward. That way something comes completely in the front. I'm going to bring this forward as well. This kind of works in a similar fashion to, there you go, that way. That's in front of your image, and you can literally pull that right out. That way it doesn't make your image look like it's missing a part. And then you can make that bigger too. Or that could be your logo or something like that that you decide to place. And then obviously you can change the background to be whatever else that you want your background to be. Okay. Another option, obviously, I can go with, I'm going to go to home. Okay. I'm literally going to completely cancel that. And I'm going to create a design. And I'm going to create, again, YouTube thumbnail. It's the fact that it literally opens a brand new tab every time. I don't understand. I'm hoping Canva do have an app, like you can download the Canva version. And then I'm going to go ahead to my project. Okay, I'm going to create, where are my images? Design, upload, yes. There we go. I'm going to literally just add this one. Okay, and I'm going to increase it in size so it fits across the board. And like I said, if you're using the free version of Canva, you can't erase the background, okay? Because when you click on edit photo, the option to background remover is literally the pro version. So it won't remove the background for you unless you're paying for it. So what's the next best thing? The next best thing is autofocus, okay? And that one's available for free. So when you click on autofocus, it will literally start to fade out the background and then try to maintain the forefront. And then you can just play around with it, the intensity, and then just go with it. So focus position, there we go. I'm playing with that. There. As you can see the background, and then the blur intensity, I can make even more blurry. There. That way you still have your image, right? There we go. You still have your image. You just have to play around with it to make sure that you still maintain that, and then the background is blurry enough. And then when you are finished with that, you can literally just come out of it like so. And then add other little elements that you want, like text, etc. Elements are definitely something I recommend if you're using Canva, because they will help create the narrative that you are trying to make for your video. For example, here, let's see all these graphics here. Obviously, we don't need any moving graphics. Let me see, collections, etc. Let's look at this one. Okay, so for example, here we want to talk about, what's this, cherries. Yeah, let's add that. We can add some cherries in the background. We can, remember, you can change the color. Okay, I feel like they're not. There we go. That makes them more prominent. And then you can add another element and kind of so on and so forth. You can add your text, add a heading. Okay, your heading can be, what is in my wardrobe. Okay, and then let's make that, I'm going to stretch that to the side because we're trying to make that one line. Okay, we're going to bring that down here actually. Question mark. Bring that in. Okay. And then with this one, as you can see, we're going to use the whole a tool to be able to add like the background. Okay, so I'm going to go back to elements, and then let's go back because we want that square. Line, circle, arrow, line, you know, let's see what the lines have. Okay, I like this because it's kind of rustic, but kind of cute as well. And it kind of goes with the aesthetic, right? So I'm going to literally pull that out. I wish I could pull it. It's not allowing me to push it on the side. That's fine, because then it will basically make me, maybe I can put it like this to the corner. Although I'd rather it was here, simply because I'm trying to hide something, what's in my wardrobe. So I'm going to put that like this, that, and then bring it out like this. Make that smaller. then make the font maybe slightly smaller. But as you can see, the font is quite thin, right? So this is where we do some font editing. We look to see what options it has available. Letter spacing, line spacing. Let the line spacing be smaller because, yeah, we don't need it to be so big. And then the text is bold, but Canva sans. Okay, it's their own font, but I don't want that. Anton is actually not bad. This Archivo Black looks good. I do like that. Can we do the same for the top part? I don't know why I felt the need to only give it to one side. Never mind. And then I'm going to bring that down again some more. And then back to this, because it's white, it blends in. So I'm actually going to edit that. And I'm going to, can I change the color of it? Let's see. There we go. Okay, so we're going to match the aesthetic of the little cherry because we just put that as decorative piece. And then we're going to go back to the font. And then with the font itself, I'm going to go ahead and change the color to a light. Has to be a nice light color. Let's see. That's nope. That's not going. So white. Okay, white is actually fine. But that gives you an idea, right? And so you can, if you've got a logo that's got a transparent background, you can actually kind of bring it in and play around with it, you know. And then honestly, with Canva, Bob's your uncle, this is how you can be able to create your own good thumbnail, because your thumbnail is not too rough. It looks nice and neat. It doesn't look like it was made by a 5-year-old kind of thing, you know, and you'll be happy to go and just maintain that template along the way. And so last but not least, we are going to go over to PowerPoint. So for those who use Microsoft Office, PowerPoint actually is a great tool to be able to create your thumbnails with. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on New. And let me see. I've never checked this before, but let me see if people have created thumbnail templates for. Okay, it's got no thumbnail. It's got no thumbnails. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and we're going to actually create a blank presentation. Okay, we're going to create a blank presentation. I'm actually going to remove everything that's already here. You can see the design is already giving me ideas. Dude, I haven't even designed anything at all. Remove that. Remove that as well. And then I'm just going to go on File. And I'm going to, sorry, not File. See, I'm thinking that I'm in Photoshop. I'm going to click on Insert. And on Insert, if you let me, there we go. There's the option for picture. And then when you click on the arrow, you want a picture from this device. That way you can go within your files and look for what it is that you need to look for. Screenshots, which ones are these? Perfect. This is the folder that we need. I'm going to go back and I'm going to, what have I got here? Okay, I'm going to use these. Hang on, what's the difference? Okay, she's looking up. I'm going to use this Elaka one from The Sims again. Okay, so this particular one now, how approve? Yes. No, not approve. Sorry. Nah, I don't need that. I don't need the old text. It's fine. And so with PowerPoint, you're probably thinking, how on earth would I be able to create a thumbnail with PowerPoint? Actually, pretty simple. Okay. What I recommend is basically create your thumbnail in here. It might not be the exact specs for your whatchamacallit, for your video thumbnail on YouTube, but I would create it, export it as a picture, and then take it to somewhere like Photopea. And then in Photopea, all you have to do is create a new file with the specs and just resize your thumbnail to fit within that, and then that will be your thumbnail if it doesn't fit properly, but most likely it actually might fit. So in this case, the first thing I'm going to do, like I have done with all the others, is actually to remove the background. Okay, and yes, you can. It's not as neat. Background removal on Microsoft Office tools is not as neat, but it's still a tool that you can use if you don't have access to the other applications. So in this case, I'm going to go to picture format. As you can see, whatever it is that you are editing within Photoshop, within Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, or even what's the other one? Excel, it will automatically highlight what that item is for you to edit it accordingly. So in this case, it's highlighted picture format. in orange, because I use dark mode obviously, so it's going to show us orange. It might be different if you're not using dark mode. So click on picture format, and then at the very end on the left, it's got remove background. And so when you click on remove background, you can see it's automatically giving you a rough idea of what it's trying to remove. It's giving you a preview on the left, and then it's showing you the entire pink area, or you might be seeing purple, depending on your screen type, is the area it's actually going to remove. However, it's got some rigid bits that it basically shouldn't be erasing. So this is where mark areas to keep, mark areas to remove. Very similar, right, to the selection tool that allows you to erase and remove backgrounds, erase, add and remove sections within an image. So in this case, we want mark areas to keep because it has taken off more than it needs to take off. So in this case, I'm literally just going to go and draw on them. As you can see, as you draw on the sections you want to keep, it gives you like a green highlighter. And then that allows it to kind of like do some moving. And unfortunately, because this is not really Photoshop, it's not designed for these things, it's never neat. Okay, all the way here. I've never even seen an option to increase the size of the pen. But as you can see, I have been able to at least get back a lot of the image that was kind of selected, deleted. And then up here, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to actually then zoom in a little bit like this, go up, and I'm going to just, and basically areas to remove, it highlighted in red as opposed to green. And I'm going to just mark them. So you can just bit by bit, tiny. It requires a little bit of finesse because it's tricky using the mouse. There we go. My hand is a little bit shaky and I don't like that. As you can see, it's created and I don't like that. But there is a workaround. Let's go back there. We've taken out a section we didn't mean to take out, so we're gonna mark that back in. There we go. And then we have to mark that back in so it's smoother. There, that's slightly better. And then here. There we go. Okay. And there's another section here. Let's see. There we go. The hair was literally gone there. Is there another section here? No, I think this part is fine. Is this the pink part of the jacket? No. There we go. I was going to say, let's get even the arrows, let them stay. That's fine. Part of it can stay. With the jacket, except the jacket's been taken off here a little bit. There we go. And I was doing Alt to zoom back out. I forgot that I have to manually do it from down here. Okay, and that's the best that I can literally get it to be in this short time anyways on PowerPoint. Hang on, let me just do this side a little bit more. My bad. Just that, because that's going to bother me. Just straighten that out a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's zoom back into the middle. Okay, we're good. And then now we're going to go ahead and keep the changes. If you're not happy and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, you can click on discard all changes. So I'm going to click on keep all changes, and then it's gone ahead and remove the background. Okay, so now you've literally got a transparent image that you can be able to place wherever you want to place it within your PowerPoint presentation. But I'm not done yet. As you can see, the image, even if I can move it around, it's still quite large around, right? The good thing is I can actually crop this image. So I'm going to bring it back to the center and I'm going to click on crop. So whilst you're in picture format, you've got various options to be able to format your picture, edit it slightly, etc., which includes removing of the background, color corrections, basically the tone and stuff like that. And then obviously literally to create to recolor it, so to speak. Literally, I can go ahead and recolor it to make it whatever I want. This actually black and white looks quite nice. Change the tone. As you can see, add saturation, remove saturation, and then transparency. Whether you want to add transparency to the image, you can see as I go, I'm adding transparency, which means if I add anything else below it, it will see through, so to speak. And then obviously things like borders and things like that. So here, remember how Canva had the line around? And because this particular picture, you can't get a smooth edge, right? around the edit, once you've done it, I would definitely recommend that you add a picture border to the image. But before I go to that, I was going through that so I can be able to get to this end. Others is obviously, select pane, alignment, rotation, and then the crop. And even the height, you can literally change the height even manually there, but you can do it on there too. But the aim is to crop this image because we don't need all that extra space that it's taking up. So I'm going to click on crop. And as soon as I click on crop, you can see the little squares and lines appear all across it, all around it, should I say. So I'm going to press that one down. So that's going to crop it up to there. And then this one on this side, I'm going to bring it all the way. As a matter of fact, actually, no, I'll bring it up to there. And then this one, I'm going to bring it up to there and there. And at the bottom, because we don't want those sections, including the arrows, I'm going to bring it up to there. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on crop. And the picture is now cropped to be a lot smaller, and I don't need all the extra edges. And then now the next part, to be able to basically make your image a little bit more fine, is to utilize the picture border. Whilst the image is selected, click on picture border. And again, a reminder, in order to get these features that you're looking at in Microsoft presentation, you have to make sure that you've selected the image so that you can be able to click on picture format. And when you click on picture format, these options become available to you. And so in this case, we're going to look at picture border. And then I'm going to first try out by doing that. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it's going around the entire border of the picture, but that's not what we want. So we're going to click Control Z. But I think I've done this before. Picture layout. What's it? No. Picture effect. There we go. So this is what we want. Okay, so it's picture glow. And then basically it's got, I clicked on a little bit too quickly, but it gives you an idea what I'm talking about. So we're going to go back to the effects, and then we are going to go back to picture glow, and then we're going to go to more glow colors. Okay, and then this allows us to actually pick the colors that we want. That's why I went there specifically. In this case, I think we are going to use a yellow. And the reason why I'm picking a yellow, let's go to standard. There we go. Yellow, yeah. Or orangish yellow. I'm picking a yellow because it's close to light, but at the same time, it still stands out. And also it will help mask any of the roughness that's going on in the line. And so it's gone and done that. So I'm going to go back to it again. And I'm going to go to the glow options. Okay, the glow options basically will give me the level of intensity I think that I can add, levels, transparency, etc., that sort of thing. As you can see here, the transparency is on 60%, but I'm going to make it more. Sorry, I'm going to make it less. That's what I meant to say. I'm going to make the transparency less, and then I'm going to make the size. I can make it bigger, but I'm going to make it slightly smaller. I think it was on 16 before. Slightly smaller, and then I can still change the color from here, by the way. Okay, I can literally change the color to whatever else I want it to be. If I want it to be black, there. But the problem is the dark color will literally show what you've been trying to hide. Obviously, you can go with the white, but this is only after you've added the background that you need to add. That's why I went for the yellow. Okay, that way you've got a picture that at least looks decent. It's got the little highlight around it. That way it doesn't look too rough. And so I'm just going to go ahead and reduce it. And the good thing about Word document, you can literally just from one corner without pressing the Alt key or anything like that, you can resize your image without losing its aspect ratio. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put that down. And then I'm going to click on the blank space so that I can click on insert. And then I'm going to click on photo. Insert, I put cameo. No, we're not trying to do that. Insert, I clicked on cameo. Oh my God. We're not trying to do camera stuff. This device, and can you know that with photo, I keep wanting to call it Photoshop, PowerPoint, you can actually record video. So like I am going to be bringing you a tutorial at some point on how to create your end card or your videos for YouTube using PowerPoint, where you can record the end card and it can be animated and it's nice and simple. And I'm also going to provide a template, but the template is only going to be available to my Patreons. And so if you want to be able to have access to that template, go ahead and join my Patreon. And so the background for this one that I'm going to utilize, I'm going to get just that simple background, to be honest, because starting to search. Okay, as you can see right now, the image that I have selected has appeared right above the picture, because that's standard, because unlike Photoshop and stuff like that, Microsoft Office does not have the option for layers. That way you can say, oh, I want this one to go directly underneath something. You have to then be able to use these features, bring forward, send backwards, that sort of thing, in order to bring one above the other. But the one thing I do like about it, though, the moment you place a new element within the presentation in PowerPoint, it offers you design options. Okay, that's if it can come up with any, it will offer you them. So for instance, it's offering me that one, which is pretty cool. That one too. These are good, but they're not really the style I'm looking for. This one, it's literally added a dark background, but the ones that I actually seem to really like are towards the bottom. I actually like the look of that. That's actually pretty cool. That one's pretty cool as well. And so if you're looking to create a thumbnail, but you're not, for lack of a better term, artistically gifted in that sense, in thinking about how to go about making it look cool, use these elements, use them to your advantage, you know what I mean? And so this one is pretty cool as well. I do like the way it's created that little line across, and this is really, really good, especially if you've got a picture with loads and loads of people on it and stuff like that. This will probably give a good divide between the title and then the image that's got loads of people on them. I am in love with this one, I'll be honest with you. I do like the way it's done, that one. I think it's pretty cool. It gives you room to be able to add your title there, and to be able to put your logo there, or to put your title down there and then put your logo there. I really do like the way it's done this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the image, but remember, it's actually removed the glow around it. So we want that glow to come back, or alternatively, we want to be able to fill the section. So let me see what options it offers us. If I put the glow, I'm hoping it won't get rid of. Good, it didn't get rid of what we already had, so I'm quite happy about that. So now I'm going to go here, I'm going to select the original yellow, and then the transparency, there we go. There we go. That way it still maintains that, and I do like that. It looks pretty dope. And so in order to basically add things like your logo and the title of the particular video, you literally just have to go to insert. Again, insert is literally for you to insert pretty much anything. I'm talking about an image from your computer, an image from the internet. Oh, and here's the thing. One thing that is a huge, huge advantage if you are going to be using PowerPoint as your thumbnail creator is it helps you scour out any copyright-free images, which means when you use the images, they are already copyright-free and you don't have to worry about that. With that said, I have mentioned before in previous tutorials, there are platforms such as Unsplash, Unsplash, Pexels, what are the other ones? Oh, I can't remember, but I do mention them. They're not at the top of my head. I do mention them in my other tutorial, where you can still get copyright-free images and not get a copyright strike no matter how much, especially if you're constantly talking about different subjects and things like that, and you need stock images in order to represent what it is that you are trying to share to your audience. You can get free copyright-free images from Pexels and Unsplash. Those are my two go-to platforms. However, if you want to be able to get them from, let's say here, which is PowerPoint, Microsoft, you literally click on Insert, like I mentioned, and then on the picture icon, click on the arrow. When you click on the arrow, it will give you three options. This device, these are images on your device, stock images, okay, or online images. Stock images is literally where you can get things like icons and things like that. It's kind of cool actually like that. I do like it that way. And then online pictures, okay? So if I go ahead and I click on stock images, this is where you want the stock images that are copyright free. Okay, now the limitation here is they're not always many available, but they are there. So in this case, maybe we want, what have we got thumbnail here? Maybe we want a stock image of, let me see. my new house, moving house, right? So maybe we want moving boxes. Let's say moving boxes. Okay, let's see what comes up. So these are the stock images that come up. The disadvantage is these are not PNG, which means I feel like they'll kind of get in the way. However, with the way it's stylized it, I'm hoping it will kind of fashion it in. I'm hoping it won't try to change the design, if that makes sense. So let's take that one because I kind of like that one. Okay, it kind of goes with the aesthetic. And then you see what it's done? It's gone and it's tried to redo it for me so that I can be able to add it to the thing. What I'm hoping, one thing I do wish it had was the option to see how it did this little circle thing. That way I can just implement it to that one. Now, what it's doing now is it's offering more options, but the option with the design that I've got on the screen right now is not available to us. However, it's still very plausible to still get what you want. So in this case, we want to, let's say, for example, we've got that, and we want this to be in her thinking bubble. Okay, this is now where you're utilizing your creative palette, right? Let's make this into a speech bubble, or a thinking bubble, not a speech bubble, a thinking bubble. So in this case, we are actually going to place the image within the thinking bubble. And if I remember very well, if memory serves me well, the last time I kind of used this, it's not on picture format, but it is on, not resetting the picture, no. We're not changing the picture. We are not trying to compress the picture, but we are going to, where's the insert option? There we go, shapes. The shapes actually have a thinking bubble. Where is it? I know I've seen the thinking bubble, so don't make me look like I'm crazy. What time is it? Okay. I'm going to hopefully just do 10 more minutes of this. There it is. Call out, they're called. So I'm inserting that one like so. Okay, and then I'm going to actually bring it up this way because she's thinking this one. And then I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to bring that over. And I'm going to turn it around. If you let me, of course, from that side. Yeah, with the PowerPoint, in order to turn an image around, you literally have to use the little one at the corner there. So I'm going to put that there, which is perfect. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, if I right click on it, I should be able to insert. Let's format the shape. Okay, we're already formatting the shape. We want to fill it. Okay, it's got no fill, solid fill, pattern side, picture, or texture fill. Okay, but right now it's got a texture fill. That's not what we want. So it's saying texture, but we want to insert a picture. And as you can see, when I click on insert picture, what has it brought? The options that were available earlier on. And I'm going to go to stock images, and I'm going to type the same thing I typed in before, which is moving boxes. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'll click on the same picture, and voila. So I'm going to take that one and I'm going to get rid of it. And then now it's up to you to change the lining of the picture. So it says shape format, and shape outline can be, let's go with the color since it's yellow. Do you want that yellow? No, let's go with the brown. And voila. And just like that, you've created like a thinking bubble for your image, and you've been able to basically add the image into the shape. So that's another way that you can do it. And that's pretty much, I think, similar to what they did with these particular images. They basically placed them within a shape. And now we're going to work on the title. So now if you want to add your title, I would say the title comes down here and then the logo here. So in this case, I'm going to insert picture from this device, and I'm going to go and get the Elaka logo again. Let's see, where are we? Good. Artwork, Elaka, insert. It's going to come up quite big because I did make it quite big. All text no. All text is just Elaka logo. There we go. And you can do that, by the way. Certain images. If anyone doesn't know anything about what it says, alt text is alternative text. This is maybe if the image fails to load quickly, etc., that sort of thing. It tells the internet what writing to display whilst the image is still trying to load. And this is where you can be able to label some of your pictures, etc., that sort of thing, to go with what people who are, especially for accessibility, I think for certain sections or some websites or some browsers, they do struggle to display certain images, and the alternative text is what will actually appear instead. So that's what this is. So, and well, honestly, I don't always bother, but I think it is important to kind of focus on stuff like that, because in time you find that they become prominent. So anyways, I'm going to put the Elaka logo right there on the corner. Since the background is white, I don't really need to do anything with the logo. But if it is different and you want to change it, for example, let's say, for example, I have decided I want the background to be a different color, right? All you have to do is go to design, and then design, literally format background. When you click on format background, that comes up. And right now the color is white, and you can literally try out all the different colors. So in this case, if I want it to be the yellow that I utilized, it should change it. Solid fill, yes, solid fill. Why isn't the background changing? Did it add an image? It shouldn't have. I'm not sure what's going on, but it should have changed. Picture, solid. Okay, I'm not sure why it's not changing, but it technically should have changed. Let's see, let's click on apply to all. Yeah, it technically should have changed, so I'm not sure why the background is not changing, but we're going to continue because we don't have time to waste. But in most cases, than not, whenever you do what what I just did, the background should have changed. And so here, if you want your logo to be a different color because maybe it's blending in too much with the background, etc., all you have to do, click on your image, go to picture format like we did before, and then it should allow you to change the color of your logo. And you can even get more variants of your color. So in this case, if I want it to be like a lighter blue, for example, it will should make it a lighter blue. Why is it taking its time? Then let me change it to that first. There you go. That's a lighter blue. And then from that, you can get the different shades of it, or you can go back to that where you can see what options like saturation and then the tone of it. Okay. And then at the bottom, obviously, you have your title of your video. You click on insert and then click on text box. Okay. When you click on text box, you're going to see the little arrow thing that pops up, and you just have to literally draw across wherever and start typing. So in this case, again, with caps on or caps locked, type in your title. So in this case, I am just going to say, finally moving. And then I'm literally just going to click on it like this, and I'm just going to go to there. And the good thing, again, one thing I do like about Microsoft Office is I don't have to scroll through. I literally can just increase the font size by doing that. Literally. And if you found that you did not write your wording in all caps, or you forgot to do all caps, let's say, for example, let me take, and then I just type like this, finally moving, right? Don't worry about that. You can literally click on it and then literally go on this option that's got the capital A and the small a to change the case type. It gives you sentence case option, all lowercase, all uppercase, capitalize each word, and then toggle them around, of course, toggle case. So what we want is all uppercase, so it automatically changes to all uppercase. Right now with vocabulary, I'm going to change it to Montserrat because I've got Montserrat installed on my computer. And so let me do that so that I can make sure. It might be a second because sometimes it does struggle to load all my fonts. I've got over 2,000 fonts on my computer, so that can be quite problematic. Where are you, Montserrat? You should be here somewhere. Montserrat. Come on. I just realized I tapped something. There we go. There it is. There's Montserrat, and those are all the variants of Montserrat. So let me bring that one out first. Let's see. Actually, that one's fine. And then I'm just going to stretch it out. Finally moving. Okay, and then I'm going to center align it within the box. And then what I'm going to do with this one is I can either choose to keep it as is, or I can put a lower third type box. But to be honest, I personally do not think I need that, simply because there's a lot of outlines going on across. The same way I'm leaving the logo as is, I'm going to leave this one as is as well. And also I think I'm going to change that to white as well, because I've looked at it and I don't like it. So that's another thing. Take a second glance and just, see, gauge how, let me see what shape outline options are available to me. The dashes. Let's see more lines. I want the double thing like that because I think it's pretty cool. Compound type. Yes, I want that. Dash type, I want to be straight. That's fine. No arrows and arrows. No, I don't want any of that. So it should have. And then I need to just increase the thickness of it, the width. There we go. And it should showcase something similar to what we're already seeing. Yeah, there we go. And at least it kind of matches. So here with this one, I'm actually going to match the font color with the color over there. So I'm just going to go to home, and then I'm going to click on there, and I'm going to use the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to do that, and that should change the font color for me. But also, not only does it do that, it keeps it as a previously used color. That way you see the yellow that I used around there is still saved there, recent colors, and it saves it there. So, and that's it really. And then when you finish, all you have to do is click on File, and then click on, you can click on, I think, Export. The export option allows you to create an animated GIF, package presentation for CD, create handouts, change file. Remember, this is PowerPoint, right? But I actually just simply go to Save As, okay? And then I go to this PC, I click on More Options. That way I can go and select where I want it to be saved. And in this case, I'm going to go actually and go to, where's the stock footage? Gaming? No. Screenshots? No. No. Go art? Yes. Yes. Okay. So in this case, it's still trying to save as a PowerPoint presentation, but where it says Save As Type, you can click on it and then just go through the list, okay? And then select the JPEG option. So you've got PNG, which is not all you need, or TIFF, Tag Image File Format, which is really, really good because it's normally high format, but that's not what you need either. We want JPEG, this one here. File Interchange Format, JPG. Click on that one, and you see all the other JPEGs. That's how you also know if you've got a file format that's similar to what you're trying to save something as. The moment you get the format type correct whilst you're trying to save, similar formats will always show up within the folder that you're going to be saving it in. So in this case, I'm going to name it Moving House, or Moving House Template Cover Art. Okay. And then click on Save. And then it will always ask you, because it's PowerPoint, which slides do you want to export? So in this case, it's literally just this one. So I can literally say all slides because it will just be the one. However, if you've created one PowerPoint presentation and then you just duplicate each layer, you can duplicate each slide so that you can create different templates for each one. You get to choose which slide number that you want to export as a JPEG. That way you keep it there, you keep all your different templates, and you edit them every time that you are doing something different, something new. So in this case, I'm just going to click this one for all intents and purposes, and then it should have saved it. So how are we going to know that? We're going to go over there and have a look, because I don't think it's going to take us there on its own. And this is the thumbnail. So it's not too much. Obviously, it's a lot more simple. But again, like I said, it depends on the style that you are going for, etc., that sort of thing, you know. Let's see what formatting, what size it's got. 1280 by 720 is not too bad. And if it doesn't fit entirely, like I said, take it to somewhere like Photopea and then just resize it. Or I'm sure you can probably go on the internet and find a website that will resize your image to be YouTube size, because there's everything available on the interwebs these days. But yeah, that will be your thumbnail pretty much. created, and you are good to go and implement it on your video. And so that kind of brings me to that. So what's the time now? I was supposed to finish at past. I did want to quickly go through with you guys how to do a thumbnail when you've got tons and tons of people on the picture, right? So let me quickly click on that. I'm going to use the same one, okay? And I'm literally just going to add an image that's got tons of people on them at the same time. And by tons, I mean, I'm just going to take one that's got lots of Sims on it, because I'm guaranteed I'm going to find the pictures that I'm looking for. So in this case, Sim Stories artwork, Kaylee Struggle Live. I need the screenshots. I just need all the screenshots, please. And thank you. Okay, screenshots. If I scroll down, wait, I've got the housewives. I thought I saw the housewives. Hang on. Okay, I've got that picture of the housewives. I've got that picture of the housewives. No, let's get a picture that's more like a group picture. Or that one. Or okay. There's many options that I'm looking at here. Obviously, if you've got, let me just press cancel for now. If you want to add a variety of people, but they are on different images, right? They are on separate images. My recommendation, obviously, would be to make sure that you edit them individually first, remove the backgrounds for each one, do as you did with the way I did that one, and then just layer them accordingly. Okay, so let me see if I can actually quickly show you this using the housewives, but their original pictures. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place linked. No, I'm going to go here because place linked will allow me to only put one picture at a time, and that's going to be tedious. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to Sims or random. No, where is it? Cast of other people. That's it. Cast of other people should have housewife. There we are. Okay. So this is where when I made my Sims pictures of the housewives, I downloaded a whole bunch of pictures from the internet so that I can use them as a reference point, right? And these ones were the ones that I liked the most because they, a lot of the housewives that season anyways at the time. So let's say, for example, I'm trying to create a thumbnail where I want Nina to be on it. I want Cynthia to be on it. So I'm literally clicking on control whilst I select because I'm trying to make sure that I get them all. And I'm going to get Portia on it. And I'm going to get Candy. Where's Kenya? Because she's part of this too. Where's her picture? There she is. Why is she down there? Bizarre. Okay, so, and I'm just going to take them all and I'm going to drag them in. Drag them right in. Okay, so I have to clicking select or enter until all of them are imported. Okay, so I've got all the housewives. So for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to hide everything else I don't need right now because it's just going to get in the way. Can you move? Okay, this one, let's lock it. Let's lock all of this. Let's lock all of this. As a matter of fact, let's put this all in one folder because it's just going to get in the way. Let's even color it red. Yep. I'm going to you in that folder. Come on, you get into that. Thank you. That way I can easily just lock everything off. These are all the housewives, right? So this is everything. This is a whole different one as well. Although technically should be part of that other group. And then these are all the backgrounds. This background is locked, so it won't let me. I'm gonna bring that one up. Come on, move in. Thank you. Okay. Green. Violet. And that leaves them. Good. So with them, I'm matching. I'm gonna put them in one group. I change the color, please. Wait, did I put anyone that shouldn't be in here? Okay, good. Okay, now it's more organized because that was going to get on my nerves. Housewives of Atlanta. There we go. Now I can hide everything else. Basically, that's the aim here. I can literally hide everything else and just work on what I need to work on. Okay, so we're going to leave this background visible because we're trying to show how we can be able to. As a matter of fact, for now, no, I'm going to get rid of it. So let's work on the wives. We're going to work on them one by one. Okay, so the idea here is we are going to group a bunch of different people with pictures where their arms are chopped off. How do we make that look good, right, in a thumbnail? So we're going to start with Nini. And again, Photoshop has just become my best friend because it's done all the made features so much easier to work with. So literally with Nini, I'm just going to click on remove background. Literally, that's all I have to do. And then in Photopea, as I showed you, you will have to use the selection tool and just go around until the whole background is removed. There's going to be a lot of zooming in and out, that sort of thing. The same situation. But the aim of this is so that I can show you how to put them together so they look presentable. That's the aim here. So Nini's background, let me hide the others because it seems, there we go. Nini background sorted. I'm going to push her to the side. Okay. Next, I'm going to hide her, reveal Cynthia. Hello, Cynthia. As soon as I click on her, it gives me the option, remove background. I go ahead, click remove background. Hopefully it won't, there's nothing that's too blending in. And her background should be, there you go. And Cynthia is done. So I'm going to move her to the side as well. Okay, and then we're going to hide her and hide Portia. Click on her, remove background. Okay, we're waiting. There you go. There was a lot more background to remove from Portia. As you can see, there's still a little bit more sun left here, but that's fine. That can still be like finessed, or it can even be ignored because we're going to be putting a bunch of people together. So we can't spend too much time on one individual. So we're going to push her aside, hide her, unveil the next person, which is Candy. Remove that background. Okay, it's going to work on that. Okay, background removed. As you can see, it's left that it's quite good. Like literally, it detected that that's her hair. And then I'm going to move her to the side. And then I'm going to hide her and hide Kenya. Remove background. And I think I might also get a picture where, what if it's a group picture where the people are actually in one picture, right? How do you go about removing background and making sure it still looks tidy? Okay, with Kenya, I think the chair is still there, but that's fine. We can work with that. And so now that I've finished with Kenya, I'm going to move her aside as well. And I'll tell you why I'm doing it like this. So I'm going to unveil everybody. And then I'm going to actually click on, once I've got Kenya already selected, I'm going to go all the way to the top person, Nini, select all of them with Shift, which highlights all the layers. And then I'm going to click on Control T. Control T, and then I'm going to use the Alt key to reduce them all in size. Because they can't all be that large size if I'm going to get them to all fit in the same place, right? So I'm going to bring that here. And then I'm going to bring that down. Okay, so my reference points here are, okay, one side is cut off, the other side is cut off. Even the top, for goodness sake, is cut off. So how do I work with that? Okay, so you start to play around. So I'm going to move Nini. Let me separate them now. Nini, Cynthia. So I have to look to see who's facing where and how. That's one. So Portia is kind of like that. Let's see. Okay. And as you can see, as I put some of them together, they blend in, right? So that's something you can use to your advantage as well. I'm actually going to try and put Candy there, but I'm going to place her behind Kenya. So I have to find out where she is and place her underneath. There we go. That way her shoulders are hidden and you can't see that she's not. Okay, that works. And then Cynthia and Nini, let me see, Portia and Cynthia, I have to figure out where to get them to fit. because these three are really well together. I'm just going to highlight all of these three and I'm going to drag them to the corner because they are working so far. Okay. Although Kenya on that side, I still have to, on the right hand side, I still have to work with that. But whereas Nini is concerned, I can literally just send it all the way to the corner. And I think I might have found, you see, Nini's head is kind of slightly chopped off. So I have to work with that too. Now, there's a couple of ways I can be able to do that with Nini. I do kind of need the top of her head, truth be told, so I'm going to create it. Okay. Although, again, if I create it, that's a more complicated step for those who don't really use Photoshop. So how do I alleviate that situation? To be honest, you do. Let me see. Hang on. Let me see. Who? I can try and place Portia here, but I would have to like, yeah. And then I would have to crop her out slightly with Candy. Or I would have to, I can put Portia here. If I, no, Candy's hair will be in the way. Because my reasoning for putting Portia here is because it does help mask Nini's hair. Okay. Now, the other way is because Nini's hair is getting cropped off, and so is Portia's, as a matter of fact. So Portia can easily be put at the top like this, and so can Nini, right? And that in that case, then I'd have to bring Candy above. And like I say, this is where it gets really tricky sometimes. I have to put Candy there. I'm going to have to obviously probably increase them in size, all of them, in order to actually get them to fit how I need them to fit. Let me just drink some water, guys. So let's see. Let's bring that. If I bring her here, bring Candy there. And then I'd have to bring Kenya above as well. Let me see. Yeah, Kenya would definitely have to be above Candy in that. No, or next. Like that. Okay, I'm gonna have to do some blending in, I think. And then Cynthia girl. Cynthia can come there. Let's see. Cynthia can actually come there. Okay, this actually works. This actually works. The only thing I need to do now is blend out. Hang on, I have to push Kenya up. And then push Candy up like this. I have to be really precise because I'm trying to hide. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yes, yes, and yes. And so now I'm going to go to Nini. I'm going to have to double click on Nini's picture. And I'm actually going to have to crop out quite a lot of her arm in order to get, although, hang on, let me try something real quick. Where's Portia? I bring Portia in front of me. How does that do? Okay, so I can actually edit Portia more than I need to do. All right, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. Oh, that's a large eraser. And I'm going to have to use the hardness has to be very soft. And then the opacity can be quite big now, it's fine. I'm going to just do this. Hope that this works. Click S. I'm literally testing this out, see how that works. Oh, that's new. It's giving me a white background. Are you serious right now? Let's go back. I need a transparent background. But because the background doesn't give transparency, I have to flatten the image. If I'm not mistaken. I am using the eraser tool, right? Okay, yes, I am. I thought I wasn't for a second. 100% opacity, smooth, Yep, it's fine. Yeah, it's because it's the background. Okay, let me Z. Come on, undo all of this. We're going to find another way around this. Okay, so if you recall what I mentioned about Photoshop not being that flexible when it comes to the editing, I'm going to hide that background and I'm going to go ahead and do this, and you should see a transparency. See, this is what I was trying to aim for. But if I try to save it, it's going to ask me to save it as a different image because the background has been changed. See, can't save this document back to its original file format, flatten layers, and discard extra data as necessary. Choose file savers again. You can save the file using file save as, but the associated smart object will not be updated. And so this is where the slight issue is when it comes to things like this. Okay, so how do we go about that? Don't worry, you're not actually stuck. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this background copy, and then I'm going to click on save. That way Portia's back to the way she was. And then I'm going to click on Portia herself, but I am going to go ahead and I will duplicate. My aim is to duplicate the layer. Duplicate the layer. Okay. So Portia's picture has been duplicated, but I'm going to remove, although I don't remove the smart options, I am going to flatten her image. Oh, no. Oh, it was flattening the whole thing. I always forget that it does that. I am going to, let's merge visible. No, that's not what I want either. Raster size, yes. I think now it should allow me to be able to edit photos. Portia's picture, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. No, it's not allowing me to do so. Interesting. Oh wait, I think I have been deleting it, but because I've copied it, so let's go back. Okay, so let's hide that. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to try and get back what I deleted of Portia and see what it looks like. She's still slightly transparent. Okay, I think the next part is to try and do the same with Nini's picture. Where's Nini's picture? Nini's below Portia? Oh yes, that's Nini. Okay, so with that one, I'm also going to rasterize Nini's picture. There she is. Because it's not duplicated, I should be able to move. Literally remove like this. So it is a bit of editing that needs to go into it. But at least it gives you the option to blend the ladies in. And so now the next part what's left is to basically fix them all, right? So remember, I've already grouped them in one section. So I'm actually going to turn that into a smart object. So convert the entire folder into a smart object. If I want to access the folder individually, I just have to double click on it and it takes me to a place where they're all there still individual. Okay. So no, I did not make any changes. So on here now, I'm actually just going to mask them around a shape. So in this case, I'm going to go with, let me see what custom shape tools are available to me. Oh, I don't have many custom shapes though, do I? Which kind of sucks. I do not have many custom shapes. So in this case, I am just going to get the ellipse tool and then I'm going to put it around them. And I'm going to play around with it first before I actually add them to the tool. Okay, so I'm going to go there, click on Control T, so that I will be able to have the flexibility of maintaining them all within the same shape. There we go. I think they should all fit in there without any problem. And then now let's go back to the layer. I'm going to bring the housewives there, and then I'm literally just going to mask them in. Voila. And then I'm just going to go to the ellipse tool and remove the line that it has. I don't want that. There we go. And so now I can literally keep them on the corner, have that little circle. That way it doesn't look messy. And you can still edit the ellipse tool, by the way. So however I edit it, basically, I can literally do this actually. Yes, yes. I can do that. Thank you. And then I can do that. But see, Cynthia still got that little bit, right, going on. So I want to bring that in. There you go. Let's bring that one in. There you go. Bring that all the way in. As a matter of fact, I can even do the same thing with Portia and Nini, especially if I want to move around the image. If I want the image to move around. That way, what's going on with the tops of their heads, and the reason why I had to design it like this, can be fixed without it being awkward, if that makes sense. Okay, and then on this side as well, I can literally bring this in. So I've created just a random shape, but it's a shape that kind of will work, if that makes sense, you know? And you can kind of just make it work for your platform. You can even drop in something a bit more. That way it doesn't seem so awkward, you know? Yeah, that way when I move them around, I'm going to go ahead and put this in a folder of their own as well again. I'm changing the color. That way I can be able to basically Control T, just move it around. And that way the image doesn't look awkward. You can resize it to fit wherever you want the title. So now if I decide to bring certain things back or elements back, right? Let's say, what did I hide? That can stay hidden, and the background. I can easily, be able to bring the ladies over. Now, obviously right now you can see a white background. That's because the ellipse tool itself has a white background. Hang on, because I'm skewing them and I'm not supposed to. I can literally do this, and I can even flip it around, okay? Flip it horizontally and bring it over like this. And then if I click OK, I can go back to the ellipse tool. Okay, and then when I click on that, you see it's got a fill. Okay, it's got a fill. I can remove the fill. But the problem with removing the fill, that removes the mask, right? So yeah, there's that. And then if I try to put a transparency on it, it removes it as well. But there is a way around this too. I just can't remember it. I'll be very honest with you. But that is one way to be able to do it. The other, obviously, you can literally be able to fill the ellipse tool with the image. That way it's also in the image, and then you have to double up the image with the image in the background, and the image basically doubles up. So I don't know if I've made sense on that, but yeah, that's how you can basically go about it. Obviously, if you don't like the way this works, the other option would be to select that and then make that into a smart object, or duplicate that those layers, right? Once you duplicate it, get the other one, and you duplicate it so that you can save the other one. Save the other one as a smart object, hide the original one, And then the one you've saved as a smart object, basically flatten that image, okay? Oh no, actually it's going to flatten all the layers. Sorry, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to rasterize it. Where's my rasterize option? Here. I'll tell you how it's going to allow me to rasterize. If I try to use the magic eraser tool, it's going to ask me, this smart object must be rasterized. Yes, rasterized. So it's going to rasterize it. Now I can remove the background. The only problem is, obviously, Nini's hair color. So this is where, when you select an image, since it's rasterized, remember, Photoshop, come on, give me. Photoshop gives you this option, right? So I can just go ahead and do this, remove background, and it will do the removing for me instead. And the white background should be removed any second now. There we go. And I've got the ladies where I need them to in a slightly smarter, and they're grouped and it's not too messy. That makes sense. And you can obviously refine certain edges. You can see, like Nini's hair, you can literally go around and refine it, you know, however you like. There's many, honestly, variations that you can be able to utilize. But the first one that I did is definitely the one that I would recommend, because that one allows you the option to still have them all with the transparent background, and then you can just rasterize the image, right? Merge them together as a smart object, rasterize the image, and then edit around. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to show you. Where's the other one? Let me hide that one. Bring that one up. This is the one, right? So this one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate it. Yes. Okay. And I'm going to make sure it's not masking over this one. So that one's done. So this is the one that I initially basically combined all the ladies together with. Okay, you see how it's got a rough background. With this one, you literally can edit it however it is that you like. So if I take it on here and I zoom out, okay, whilst I've got all of them in the same space, it's actually easier here to edit them than anywhere else. Because then I can, nearly 3 hours, I should get going. Like that. And I can easily basically just smooth out all the edges, bring out anything, you know what I mean? Just smooth it out according to how I want. So in this case, I can duplicate these layers, right? You see, it's going to duplicate it. And then I can convert them into a smart object. And then I can go ahead and flatten these particular images, or rasterize, should I say. So I'm going to use the magic eraser because it always is the one that, yep. Okay, it's going to rasterize that. Then I can hide the rest. I don't need them just as yet. Okay, so this is a rasterized image, but it's literally one image. Okay, so the main way I would personally recommend is to put a circle around them and then crop it out. So what do I do? Use the ellipse tool this way and then literally do that. Now I'm going to bring it down a little bit. I want to be able to move it up a bit. And then X. So I've copied and pasted them. Okay, let's get rid of that. So I've already created like a little circle situation going on. And then I just have to fix the sides basically. But can you see this is a start in what you can be able to utilize, okay? And depending on how you are doing your blog or whatever it is that you're doing, you know, especially if it's celebrity talk, put a circle around it, right? Make sure, yep. Make sure it's actually above them. This one is below them. I want it to be above them. And then I am going to remove the inside and I'm going to add an outside, an outline. And then I'm going to increase the size of the outline. Control T. And then just try to fit them in And as far as like creating a particular template for your platform, I definitely would recommend something like this, especially when it's really difficult to fit a group of people within a picture. You still want to be able to have your platform looking tidy. Something like this is something I definitely recommend. So here I'm just going to push these ones in, push that one in. But you see, I'm trying to make sure that one is covered, right? But Portia's head is slightly still showing. There we go. And in this kind of case, this is where you can maybe take the same circle, duplicate it, put it underneath. Okay, these are the various ways in which you can just do trial and error, to be honest. Go to the fill tool, click on that, click on Portia's outfit. Okay, that way you get something closely matching color. And then there, that's the background covered. So it kind of matches their entire background. And it still covers all of them. That way, even if Portia's hand is still showing, but if you're not happy with that, you can go to the picture and literally use the smudge option. I would have used the patch healing tool, but it requires an actual surface to work with. And because that side is transparent, I can't do that. So the next best thing is the smudge tool, where I can zoom in. And literally, whilst I'm on the picture, I can just smudge Portia's image out. Okay. And let me see, strength was low. So let's make this. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to literally smudge this in too. Now, right now it looks rough, but you'll see what I'm about to do. Now that I've created a surface, I can actually go to the patch healing tool and select the same section that I just smudged out, right? And bring it out like this. That way it still has the skin looking normal. And then do the same thing with this section and then bring it out like this. Oh, a little bit too overzealous. That's fine. It's not something that's not fixable. You can still fix that. Hang on. Let me go back. If things didn't quite work out, you can literally go back. So I'm going to click out of that, and I'm just going to do it bit by bit this time. Okay, so if you found that you maybe took too much, just do it bit by bit. It's fine. There you go. To avoid like making unnecessary mistakes, basically. You see, that's what it did because I was too close to the skin. So I'm going to do Control Z on that one, and I'm going to go back to that section, and I'm going to push that out, and voila. And just like that, Portia is in there. Now, obviously there's a slight little situation. I can easily take that and then bring it out, see how it fares. The other way is obviously just use the eraser tool, to be honest, and just without the smoothness, the hardness has to be a maximum, and just bring it out. That way it doesn't look awkward. There you go. And with that, you can literally select that all the way and then convert that into a smart object, which means you can still edit it, by the way. It doesn't mean that that's the end. And then you can Control T, increase it in size so it's a lot bigger. Click OK, Control Save, saving it as a smart object. And then when you go back, voila, you've got that nice round picture of the housewives, and you can literally use that as your template too. So there's lots of bits and pieces that I had to do, but this is, oh no, don't do that. But this is just to give you an idea of what tricks basically you can utilize in order to make your thumbnail, more interesting. Thumbnails with circles actually are really, really good for group things, because you kind of compartmentalizes things and it makes them a lot neater. you know, and then you can put your shocking headline on the side, you know, that sort of thing. So for instance, in this case, if I was to hide where's this background? That one there, right? And I was to bring that there, like that, Alt, bring that out like that, you know, and then literally change the heading to say shocking housewives shake up, you know, cost shake up, yeah, cost shake up. So right now, that's a very long sentence. It's not a long sentence, actually, just long words. So let's see how we can be able to make the most of it. Obviously, when we make it bigger, it uses up less space, right? I mean, it makes it a lot smaller. So instead, just let it come to the bottom, and then I'm going to just, there we go, bring that up a bit. And then I'm actually going to make this one bigger. And now as I make it bigger, which is very tricky to do sometimes. So there we go. Ooh. What's that, 26? Give me 24. Okay, 24 doesn't work. 25. 25 is what I meant to do. It didn't do it. Okay, 25.3. Then we're going to put it down slightly. And okay that. And then there you go. Bring that up. So you've got your logo down there with your, you know, your logo, your branding, whatever. You've got the group picture there that you've combined, and then you've got the shocking headline, which can be like this. It can be even like this, to make it nice and neat. That way there's not too much going on, and then you can kind of reduce your logo to either go up there or down there, you know. And then you can even put another sub menu, and you know, and this can allow you to actually create multiple ones where you can have even two, and then they can still be able to be neatly placed, you know. And then that's your branding pretty much done, to be honest. You know, in this case, I'm gonna go to where is this? Elaka one. No, that one. So I'm going to get rid of that. And then I'm going to change the color to that. And then I'm going to actually move the logo, if you'll let me, to up there. Because I feel like that is a better place. And also if you're uploading on YouTube, remember your logo is always at the bottom there. So you do have to be careful with that as well. I mean, but then again, it's always small. So there's that. And voila. You've got your branding there. And then if you want a different background, plain is always recommended. If you've got like a news, you know, you don't want too much going on in the background, if truth be told, you know. You really don't want that. And that's how you can be able to create it. And I think that brings me to the end, guys. You know, I think I've tried my best to show you as much as I can. Like I said, as a thank you for 200 subs. Thank you. Keep them coming. Thank you for subscribing. I'm now going to officially stop sharing my screen. And I am going to turn down the music. Actually, no, keep the music for now. And I'm just going to send a little reminder for those people, please. If you are new to my channel, please do go ahead and click on that subscribe button. And of course, push that bell button so that you can receive notifications every time I upload new content. And of course, if you are watching over from Facebook, please do give the page you are watching from a follow or a like. And of course, give the video a thumbs up. And do share the video for anyone that would be interested in this kind of content, as it helps me immensely in the algorithm. And feel free, please, to leave your comments leave your opinions, or leave your questions, or leave your comments in the comment section. think that's what I'm trying to say. Down below, I really do appreciate everybody that stops by to watch all my videos, as few, little as they are. It doesn't matter, because for me, it's about putting out content that I enjoy and that I hope I can be able to reach to people who actually equally enjoy it. You are free to support my channel by joining my Patreon, which is patreon.com/EPCreativeMedia. And of course, you can also support me by going to paypal.me/the Eficom group. Otherwise, have I got anything else to say? No, actually, I think that kind of brings me to the end of my broadcast. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, I suppose it's I wish you all the blessings the Lord has to give. Take care and goodbye.